Chapter 25. Xiaoya? Are they here for her? Yichen was stunned for a moment. Then he closed his eyes and continued to rest. It didn't matter if they were here for Hu Xiaoya or not. Yichen didn't plan to get to know them, nor did he plan to get close to them. Even if there were a lot of people here, they seemed to be very powerful. Yichen just wanted to rest and restore his body to its strongest state. If Brother He and the other gangsters came back, Yichen would ask them to do something. If they didn't come back, Yichen would go by himself. Yichen didn't plan to wait for the reincarnation village. The sooner it was built, the more spirit stones he could accumulate. Spirit stones were strategic materials, the more the better. Hu Xiaoyan naturally heard the sound coming from the grass outside the hotel. She was happy and shouted without hesitation, "Brother, I'm here. It's Xiaoya. Quick, quick." A surprised roar came, followed by a series of running sounds. Huh? When Yichen heard the orderly footsteps, he couldn't help but be surprised. To be able to run with such neat footsteps, basically only soldiers and public security could do that. However, there were a lot of people here, so the security couldn't be so good. At this moment, no security bureau could send so many security officers at the same time. This woman was not simple. Yichen just thought about it when a group of soldiers rushed in with bayonets in their hands. Obviously, they already knew that guns were useless, so they could only install bayonets and use them as weapons. Xiaoya. A burly man was overjoyed when he saw Hu Xiaoya. "Commander!" A cry came. All the soldiers immediately raised their rifles and looked around vigilantly. That was because the piles of rat corpses in the hotel lobby were too eye-catching. "It's okay. Stay alert," the burly man looked back and said. As soon as he said that, the soldiers immediately reacted. If something was wrong, Hu Xiaoya wouldn't be standing here. One by one, they laughed awkwardly and then became alert. Soon, Yichen, who was sitting on the sofa with his eyes closed, was noticed by all the soldiers. However, no one cared about Yichen. They carried out their respective tasks and were on guard. "Xiaoyu, why is there blood on your body?" The burly man noticed the bloodstains on Hu Xiaoya's body. As soon as he opened his mouth, his nose twitched and his expression changed. Something's wrong. He smelled the strong smell of blood. This smell could not be emitted by a human's blood. There were many people, so many that even he, who had seen blood before, couldn't help but frown. "Big bro," Hu Xiaoya called out, then looked at Yichen. After a moment of silence, she quietly told the burly man what had happened. The burly man's face changed when he heard about the ferocious, beast-level rats eating people. When he heard that in order to save Hu Xiaoya, Yichen had not only killed all the big rats, but also more than 200 people, he was first shocked, and then his eyebrows knitted together. He was very grateful that Yichen had saved Hu Xiaoya, but Yichen had killed more than one person, more than 200 people. He couldn't imagine what kind of scene it was. But soon he began to feel conflicted. Even as a regiment commander, he had never seen a fierce person who could kill more than 200 people so easily. Now that guns had lost their effectiveness, if they wanted to catch Yichen, they could only use force. But when he thought about what Hu Xiaoya said, he felt uncertain. But he was a soldier who protected the country. There was a murderer in front of him who had mercilessly killed more than 200 people. Catching him was his duty, but it was also dangerous. If he didn't catch him, he would be grateful, but he would also be neglecting his duty. Phew! Yichen, who was resting with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes and let out a long breath. Yichen, who had a combat value of 80, had a very strong body. If he wanted to rest, it would not take long for him to recover. Yichen got up and walked straight to the entrance of the hotel without looking at Hu Xiaoya and her brother. Hu Xiaoya's brother gritted his teeth and shouted, "Stop!" He chose to do his duty. He chose to catch Yichen, even though he knew that this choice could bring about terrible consequences for his soldiers. He still made his choice. As soon as he finished speaking, the soldiers in the lobby of the hotel pointed their bayonets at Yichen. Yichen did not turn around, nor did he summon the God Slayer. He just stopped in his tracks. After a moment of silence, Yichen said, "Regiment Commander Hu, sometimes your decision will cause irreversible consequences. Are you sure you want to do this? Regiment commander, whose heart skipped a beat when he heard this. Yes, what Yichin said was exactly what he was worried about. In this mutated world, guns had become useless. They no longer had the power to deter people. If you wanted to catch someone, you could only rely on cold weapons and martial arts. But Yichan could easily kill more than 200 people. Such a person must have extraordinary martial arts. Yichan sensed regiment commander Hu's hesitation. He sighed and continued. In the future, the strong will prey on the weak. The laws of the past will be useless. More and more people will ignore the law. They will only rely on their fists. And this will happen very quickly. Lastly, let me remind you, don't be a good person. After Yi Chun finished speaking, he continued walking towards the entrance of the hotel. At this moment, the soldiers stood in a neat row and blocked the entrance of the hotel. The bayonets in their hands were pointed at Yi Chun, regiment commander who was thinking about Yi Chen's words when he suddenly froze. He felt an extremely strong, murderous aura. Yi Chun, who was not far away, seemed to have become the Grim Reaper in a sea of corpses. Cold, merciless, and undisguised murderous aura instantly exploded. Move! Quick! Move! Regiment commander who shouted without hesitation. Regiment commander who had seen life and death, but he never thought that someone could be so terrifying. Regiment commander who had never encountered such a terrifying murderous aura. It was not a murderous aura that was condensed from killing 1 or 100 people. It was a murderous aura that was condensed from killing countless people. It was domineering and merciless. It could freeze one's blood and make one's heart stop. From the way the soldiers blocking Yi Chen's way started trembling, it was obvious how terrifying Yi Chen's murderous aura was. Regiment commander who was very sure that if he did not give the order to move aside, the outcome would be very tragic, and they would be the ones to suffer. At this moment, outside the hotel entrance, the soldiers who did not enter the hotel suddenly shouted, "Stop! Who are you?" Chapter 26. Army. Soldier. A nervous and frightened voice was heard in the hotel at this moment. When Yichin heard this voice, he smirked and said, "They're doing odd jobs for me." When Commander Hu heard this, he immediately shouted, "Let them through." With a swoosh, the soldiers made way for them, regardless of whether they were inside or outside the hotel. The soldiers didn't want to block Yi Chen's way. The soldiers outside were better off as they were further away. However, the soldiers in the hotel were greatly agitated by Yi Chen's murderous aura. Yi Chen waved his hand and walked out of the hotel without looking back. The soldiers had already cleared a path in the bushes outside the hotel. When Yi Chen appeared, Brother He and his underlings bowed and shouted, "Big brother!" They were really impressed by Yi Chen. Previously, Yi Chen had killed them as easily as cutting vegetables. They didn't dare to offend such a fierce person. Initially, Brother He and his underlings had planned to run away. However, Brother He thought it through. This D*MN world had become like this. Guns were useless. Of course, whoever had the bigger fist would be the best. After thinking about it again and again, he decided to follow Yi Chen's instructions. Hence, he caught up with his underlings. After some explanation, his underlings all followed him back. Small people had their own wisdom. They had encountered such a big rat in the hotel. Who knew what was outside? Right now, there were towering trees everywhere and weeds that were as tall as a person. If there were any more ferocious beasts, wouldn't that be courting death? They didn't think that they could be invincible with the machetes in their hands. Hence, they all came back. They planned to follow Yi Chen, this fierce person. Yi Chen came in front of Brother He and his underlings. He glanced at them and said, "Follow me." "Yes, big brother." Brother He and his underlings replied in unison. Then, they followed Yi Chen out of the hotel. In the hotel, huff, huff, long exhalations could be heard one after another. Why is that guy so terrifying? He's not human at all. I feel like that person has really killed a lot of people. That killing intent doesn't seem fake. It's impossible to fake it. Absolutely not. Killing intent will only appear when there's blood. It's impossible to fake it. My former squad leader killed a lot of drug dealers and terrorists at the border. He has a murderous aura, but compared to that person, it's like heaven and earth. That person is too terrifying. This shouldn't be the case. He dared to kill so many people. How could he not be caught? I'm guessing that he's a professional killer or an international mercenary. Otherwise, he would have been shot dead if he dared to do this in China. How many people did he kill to be able to condense such a terrifying killing intent? He's simply a pervert. Ahem, that's enough. Let's stop this. Let's take a break. Commander Hu raised his hand and stopped his subordinates from continuing to discuss Yi Chun. Hu Xiaoya sighed when she saw that Yi Chun was nowhere to be seen. She felt a little disappointed. It was a little faint, a little strong, but she couldn't put her finger on it. When they were on the second floor of the hotel, Yi Chun glanced at her after killing the gangsters. At that time, she revealed a terrified expression. Yi Chun only frowned but didn't say anything to her. He didn't comfort her, didn't explain. He even looked a little regretful when he glanced at her. She didn't know why Yi Chun would be like this. Why did Yi Chun do something as cruel and cold-blooded as killing people so casually and without a care in the world? At that time, she only felt a deep sense of fear, and panic. At this moment, she suddenly had a feeling that she had missed out on something. Words couldn't describe it, but it took root and sprouted in her heart. Forest Park. Yi Chun brought Brother Hay and a group of gangsters here with the tools they found along the way. They met a lot of people on the way, but those people stayed far away from them. No one dared to provoke this group of people. One look, and you could tell that they weren't good people. Moreover, there were so many of them, and they were all carrying knives. As long as one was alive, they couldn't avoid eating and drinking. On the way, Yi Chun asked Brother Hay and the rest to get some food from the supermarket. At this moment, there were already many people in the supermarket who were fighting over the food. There were even fights and murders. Yi Chun didn't care about this, and he didn't care. In the future, things that were crueler and bloodier than this would happen every day. Yi Chun was already numb to it. Brother Hay's real name was Zhao Ariai. He had originally planned to take over the entire supermarket, but at Yi Chun's request, he only took 3 days' worth of food. At first, Zhao Ariai and the rest didn't understand. But when Yi Chun gestured for them to check their accounts, their faces darkened. The amount of things they took was the same amount of money they had deducted. For former gangsters, this was simply too unreasonable. However, they were also very impressed with Yi Chun. Others didn't realize it, but Yi Chun did. This was different from the rest. In his previous life, the forest park was the territory of the black fish that Yi Chun had trampled to pieces. And in this life, Yi Chun chose this place as his territory. Because here, there was something that countless people coveted, something that countless forces wanted to take for themselves. Spirit Spring. Heaven and earth changed. What changed was not only the living beings, but also the earth, air, and sea. On the earth, countless new plants appeared. There were also spiritual herbs that could speed up cultivation. Yi Chun wanted spiritual herbs, but what Yi Chun wanted more was the Spirit Spring. Spirit Spring was produced by heaven and earth, and it was filled with spiritual energy. With Spirit Spring, it meant that spirit fields could be grown. With spirit fields, it could be the same as in the game. After planting, the crops would mature in a very short period of time. Of course, Yi Chun didn't care about growing food, but spiritual herbs. Spiritual herbs that took 100 years to mature, after planting them in the spirit fields, only needed a month to mature. This was the rule of heaven and earth after the fall of the meteor and the descent of Wisdom Pangu. Therefore, the Spirit Spring was crazily fought over by all the major forces. Because in the real world, how much one's strength increased was the same. Unlike in the game, where one's strength increased, in the real world, it would be reduced to a pain in the ass. As for spiritual herbs, even the worst ones could increase one's chances of entering the Xiantian realm, not to mention better ones. Of course, there was a prerequisite. That was, at the place where the Spirit Spring was, one had to use the village creation token to bring the Spirit Spring into one's territory. This wasn't something that just anyone could do, but Yi Chun could do it. Moreover, Yi Chun had a god-level village creation token. Chapter 27. Yi-chan brought Zhao Arai and the rest of the thugs to the place where they had obtained the star pearl. This place was already filled with towering trees, and the surroundings were also overgrown with weeds. "Clean up all the trees and weeds here," Yi-chan said as he pointed at the edge of the lake. Zhao Arai and the rest of the thugs' jaws dropped when they heard this. The place Yi-chan pointed at was filled with towering trees and weeds. It was a primeval forest. How long would it take to clear all this? Moreover, they could no longer use the tools used to cut the trees. If they relied on manpower, they would be exhausted. Just as the group of thugs regretted following him, Yi-chan waved his right hand, and the Godslayer appeared instantly. Zhao Arai and the rest of the thugs were scared out of their wits. Just as they thought that Yi-chan was going to kill a few of them to teach them a lesson, Yi-chan walked towards the forest. The Godslayer slashed across the ground again and again. A large tree fell to the ground instantly. A few seconds later, another tree fell. Gulp, gulp. A series of sounds could be heard. The thugs swallowed their saliva heavily. Bro, hey. Yi Laoda is too fierce. One of the thugs stammered as he stared blankly at the fallen trees. No wonder. Yi Laoda is so powerful. One of the thugs said with lingering fear as he recalled how Yi-chan had cut them up like vegetables. Yi Laoda. How could he with just a wave of his hand? One of the thugs said. Slap. Zhao Arai slapped the thug's face hard and said fiercely, Motherf asterisk her. Motherf asterisk her, shut up. Is Bossy someone you can talk about? I was wrong. The thug who was slapped was stunned at first. Then he was scared out of his wits and sat on the ground with a plop. He was so scared because he had revealed Yi-chan's secret. If Yi-chan were to think that he was trying to pry into something and take his anger out on him, there would only be one outcome for him, and that was death. As for implicating others, he didn't care. But if he died, that was something he didn't want to see. Therefore, he was very scared. He was so scared that his teeth were chattering and his whole body was trembling nonstop. You can do it too if you have played the Primordial World game before. Yi-chan's voice sounded. Zhao Arai was stunned at first, but then he was overjoyed. He was ecstatic because he no longer had to worry about being implicated by that underling. More importantly, he knew a secret. Although this wasn't a big secret, Zhao Arai felt that it was a signal. As long as he could follow Yi-chan, he would be able to learn more about this world than anyone else. Yi-chan was too strong and mysterious. This was how Zhao Arai felt. Otherwise, Yi-chan wouldn't have asked him to come to the forest park to clear the trees and weeds. When the hooligans heard this, some were confused, some were smart, and the smart ones immediately started experimenting. Then they started shouting, because it was too amazing, because they had never thought of it before. Yi-chan didn't care about what these hooligans were thinking, nor did he care. Yi-chan had never thought of putting these people in important positions. Of course, Yi-chan would use people who were dead set on being underlings. But Yi-chan didn't think that these people had the determination to be his underlings. Especially after they understood all the secrets of the game, it was even more impossible. Human desires and hopes were endless. It had nothing to do with social class, knowledge, or money. Everyone had desires and hopes. Everyone wanted to become strong. Everyone wanted to have everything. But most people didn't think about it. Sometimes, thoughts were just thoughts. Yi-chan asked these hooligans to do this because Yi-chan didn't want to be too troublesome. In reality, he could use the parcel ability. He could store up to 99 items of each type. The trees were easy to collect, but the weeds were not. It wasn't that the weeds couldn't be collected, but if he put them in the parcel, he could only collect 99 of them. It was better to just carry them away. And this was why Yi-chan asked them to do this. As for the possible leakage of the reincarnation village, Yi-chan wasn't worried at all. This was because this was not a secret place, and it would be discovered very quickly. Also, no one could get within a kilometer of the reincarnation village without being discovered by Yinhu. Time passed little by little. Yi-chan knocked down a large number of trees. When Yi-chan cleared a large enough area, Yi-chan stopped. The hooligans began to clear the trees and weeds in this area. Yi-chan sat on the bench next to the lake and closed his eyes to rest. When the trees and weeds were cleared, Half an hour had passed. At this time, Zhao Arai brought the hooligans to Yi Chun and called out, "Big brother, the work is done." Yi Chun opened his eyes and looked at Zhao Arai. Then he got up and walked towards a cleared area. When he arrived at the open area, Yi Chun's mind moved. A mechanical voice instantly sounded in Yi Chun's mind. "Ding, detected God-level village creation token. Owner, Yi Chun. It has been used in game. Village name, Reincarnation. Do you want to use the God-level village creation token in reality? Use." Chapter 28. A rainbow-colored radiance instantly appeared from the God-level village creation token, and then disappeared. At this moment, one big and two small thatched cottages appeared beside Yi Chun out of thin air. Zhao Arai and the other hoodlums saw this and couldn't help but rub their eyes. They were sure that this place was just an empty space. But now, one big and two small thatched cottages suddenly appeared. It was also impossible to perform a magic trick, as that required props. This was flat ground. It wasn't something that could be done with magic. Could it be? Yi Laoda put 3 thatched cottages in his bag. Yes, it must be so. Bags can store items. Look, there are only 3 thatched cottages. It must be easy to store them. But why did Yi Laoda put 3 thatched cottages in? Yi Chun could hear the hoodlums' discussion, but Yi Chun wouldn't explain. There was no need to. There were many secrets in the game. Bags didn't count. This would be discovered soon. But as for the others, Yi Chun wouldn't say. Selflessness, for the sake of humanity, it was all nonsense to tell them. Yi Chun wouldn't do that. The reason was simple. Yi Chun, who had been reborn, knew more than anyone about the greed, and endless desires in people's hearts. Yi Chun's experience in his previous life made him see too much of humanity's ugliness. Yi Chun was sure that as long as he revealed the secrets of the game, the first territory to be occupied would be Reincarnation Village. Yi Chun was strong, but not strong enough to ignore 10,000 people or even 100,000 people. Even if there were 100 people, if someone used a crossbow, Yi Chun could still be killed, although the chances weren't high. So, Yi Chun wouldn't say it. He looked at his own Reincarnation Village. To be more precise, he looked at the 3 thatched cottages. Yi Chun turned and walked towards Zhao Arai and the others. "Big brother." Zhao Arai and the other hoodlums saw Yi Chun coming and hurriedly called out. Yi Chun's ferocity hadn't been gone for long, so it was only natural that the hooligans were afraid of him. "You can leave now. As a reward for working for me, I'll give you a heads up. In 2 days, go to the new development zone." Yi Chun looked at Zhao Arai and the other thugs and said expressionlessly. Zhao Arai and the other hooligans were all stunned when they heard this. There was something wrong with this script. In their minds, Yi Chun had asked them to work for him because he wanted to take them in as his underlings. However, that was not the case at all. Zhao Arai looked at Yi Chun with some doubt. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly shivered and swallowed the words he wanted to say. He saw a pair of emotionless eyes. That pair of eyes was filled with indifference towards life and indifference towards death. Zhao Arai had a feeling that as soon as he opened his mouth, he would die in the next second. "Yes, big brother. We'll go now." Zhao Arai tried his best to stabilize his heart, which had suddenly gone berserk. He swallowed his saliva heavily and said. Yi Chun nodded, then turned and walked towards the thatched cottage. Zhao Arai looked at Yi Chun's back, his expression uncertain. Originally, he had made up his mind to follow Yi Chun, but now, Yi Chun was not taking them in. Zhao Arai could not accept this. After all, he was once a boss. However, he did not dare to show his dissatisfaction. He did not even dare to make a sound. This was because Yi Chun was a killing god. He treated human lives like grass. He was cruel and violent. He did not want to die, so he had no choice but to leave. In the end, Zhao Arai left with the other hooligans. After Yi Chun returned to the thatched cottage, his mind moved. A swirl of starlight appeared out of thin air. Then, a little tiger with fiery red fur all over its body walked out. The moment it came out, it was stunned. Then, It ran to Yi Chen's trousers and intimately rubbed against Yi Chen's trousers. Yi Chen's cold expression instantly disappeared. He bent down and patted Yinhu's little head and said, "I'll leave it to you. Don't run around. Just move around in the reincarnation village. Don't attack people randomly. If someone comes, tell me. If someone dares to attack you, kill him." "Oh, woo." Yinhu nodded its little head and let out a very tender roar. Yinhu was a spirit beast, and a king among spirit beasts. It was born with skills and high intelligence. Naturally, it understood Yi Chen's words. Yi Chen smiled and patted Yinhu's little head. Then, he pressed the diamond ring on his finger. The starlight shone and the light dissipated. The diamond gaming cabin appeared in the house. Yi Chen walked straight to the side of the diamond gaming cabin. He opened the cabin door and lay inside. When the gaming cabin closed, Yi Chen once again entered the game. At this time, Yinhu ran to the side of the diamond gaming cabin. It curled up into a ball and fell asleep like a kitten. But from its constantly twitching ears, it was not really sleeping. It was just listening to the movements outside. Game world, reincarnation village, village chief's mansion. A beam of light suddenly appeared in the bedroom of the village chief's mansion. The beam of light dissipated. Yi Chen opened his eyes. Ding! Congratulations to player Divine Dog Husky for building the 10th village. Special reward. Divine Dog Village as the 10th village of chaos. Hearing this system announcement, Yi Chen was stunned. Divine Dog Husky? Fuck! How could this bastard build a village so quickly? Chapter 29. In his previous life, there were two people who impressed Yi Chen the most in addition to the strong ones. One was the dumbass of the human race, who would buy, and do it without saying a word. He was dumb when it came to talking and doing things, but he was extremely lucky. The second was the Divine Dog Husky. The Divine Dog Husky was not a human, but a member of the Demon Clan. Unlike most of the Demon Clan, it did not leave its master. After it was enlightened, it did not leave its master. Instead, it considered itself to be its master's husband. To put it simply, the Divine Dog Husky and its master had a love that transcended races. The content of this was indescribable. This was not the key. The key was that the Divine Dog Husky was a breeding dog. Whether it was a human or a demon clan, as long as it took a fancy to it, it would snatch it, do it, and drive it away the next day. Otherwise, its master, the young woman, would castrate it. Although the husky was very strong, it doted on the young woman. These were still small matters. The most shocking thing was that it had a hard time with the daughter of the demon King Qishan. Until Yi Chen's rebirth, the Divine Dog Husky was still being chased by countless demon clans. Of course, this did not mean that the Divine Dog Husky was close to humans. He was not close to humans. Except for his master, except for those beautiful women, the others were either robbed or eaten by him. He also often hit people, whether in the game or in reality. It was impossible to guard against. And all of this was told to him by the young woman master of the Divine Dog Husky. Coupled with the Divine Dog Husky's good luck, he rose quickly and was so powerful that it gave people a headache. They hated him, but couldn't kill him. They wanted to plot against him, but failed again and again. At this moment, the world channel began to boil because of the announcement of the Divine Dog Husky. F*CK, this guy is awesome. He actually came up with such a name. F*CK, I'm dying of laughter. There's someone called this. Wong Wong Wong, Husky be good, eat the shit back. Humph, stupid human, tremble, tremble, I am the Husky King, the divine dog who is determined to stand at the top of the world. F*CK, I said he was fat, and he chuckled. F*CK, how funny. F*CK, he really is a joker. There's no justice in this world. Such an idiot can actually become the 10th village. Yi Chen glanced at it and did not pay attention to it. It was useless even if he did. Demons could also build villages, but the difference between them and humans was that their villages only produced beasts. On the battlefield in the future, it would be common to see an army of tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of pure beasts. That would be the army led by a demonic lord. Right now, Yi Chen only had one thing to do, and That was to increase his strength as quickly as possible. Because soon, the first historical storyline would begin. The birds and beasts on Earth, who were also players, would also begin to attack all humans at that time. Whether it was the players or the natives in the game, they were all targets. To them, human flesh and blood were the best spoils of war. The chaos in the game world would officially begin at that moment. Yichen did not care about the shifters because in the entire game world, the shifters had always been the opposite of the human race. It was rare for them to meet without bloodshed. Therefore, it was useless to care about it. That was a long-term opponent. Yichen cared about the historical storyline, the Yellow Turban Rebellion. In his previous life, Yichen could only secretly kill some Yellow Turban rebels to earn some merit points and get some pitiful items that would drop. Then, there was no then. In this life, Yichen did not want to miss it again. Phew! Yichen let out a long breath and then left the village chief's mansion. Outside, Yichen could not help but be surprised. Everywhere he looked, there were busy villagers of the reincarnation village. There were people carrying wood, stones, iron, ore, hose, and so on. It was very lively. It was clear that the villagers of the reincarnation village had increased again. In addition to the busy villagers, there were many more buildings in the reincarnation village. A tavern, a tailor's shop, a beast pen, a private school, a general store, a blacksmith shop, and a clinic were all built. In the distance, there was also a large military camp. At the entrance, there were 2 energetic soldiers standing guard. Looking at the completely changed reincarnation village, Yichen was very satisfied. At this time, Yichen did not think that others could develop faster than him. After all, the intelligent brain Pangu had not opened the money exchange business. In the game, there was only one person who was the richest player, and that was Yichen. Therefore, the rapid development of the reincarnation village was inevitable. No one could surpass it. Greetings, my lord. Zhao Heng trotted over and bowed respectfully. Yichen nodded and asked with a smile, "Where is Zhao Meng?" "My lord, my son is leading the newly selected soldiers to train in the military camp." Zhao Heng hurriedly said, "Good, training cannot be slack. All right, how many soldiers does the reincarnation village have now?" Yichen smiled and asked, "My lord, so far there are 12 people." Zhao Heng bowed and replied, 12 people. Yichen sighed and then said, "So be it. Quality is more important than quantity." "My lord, you have great foresight. The reincarnation village will be world famous," Zhao Heng said with a sincere face. In such a short time, the reincarnation village was able to select 12 soldiers, and all of them were C-class. To be more precise, after the reincarnation village's bonus, they were all A-class. If it was another village, they would only have F-class. Even D-class was considered good. Those villages could not be compared to the reincarnation village. Hearing this, Yichen could not help but smile. Just as he was about to ask something else, a cry of surprise suddenly came. "Xiaohu, where is Xiaohu?" The voice came from the clinic, and the one who spoke was Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu rushed out of the clinic and was about to look for the spiritual beast, Flaming Tiger, when she saw Yichen. She immediately anxiously shouted, "My lord, Xiaohu is missing." Chapter 30. As she spoke, Zhao Yu began to sob. Looking at Zhao Yu's teary eyes, Yichen hurriedly explained, "Little Tiger went to my world to protect me." Yichen was a player. For players, the natives of this world automatically recognized Yichen as the chosen ones. Zhao Yu was shocked when she heard this. Zhao Heng was also shocked. "My lord!" Zhao Yu stopped crying and hurried to Yichen's side as she cried out in alarm. Ding! Zhao Yu's loyalty has reached 100. She has become loyal. When the system notification rang out, Yichen couldn't help but be stunned. At this moment, Zhao Heng anxiously shouted at the military camp, "Meng, get over here quickly." Pung! A loud sound was heard. Zhao Meng, who was holding the ghost head blade, jumped out of the military camp. The moment he landed, he stomped on the ground and rushed toward Zhao Heng. My lord, Zhao Meng originally wanted to call out for his father, but when he saw Yichen, he was stunned. "My lord is in danger." Quick, go to my lord's world. Zhao Heng anxiously shouted. Okay, I'll... Zhao Meng's face froze when he said this. What are you waiting for? Zhao Heng went over and kicked Zhao Meng's balls. Father, I don't know how to go over. Zhao Meng's face was red as he finally said this. Zhao Heng's face froze when he heard this. It wasn't strange for the natives of the game world to know that the player was in another world. They could also infer that if the player could come to this world, they could also go to the player's world. Then, when this question was posed, the answer was also revealed. They didn't know how to go over. Of course, there weren't many natives who had this idea. Only those with grade S aptitude and above would have this idea. Looking at the nervous faces of the three, Yichen couldn't help but feel warm in his heart. This was the fundamental reason why Yi Chun preferred the people of this world. Once they became loyal, there would be no betrayal. Unlike in the real world, die-hard loyalists would not appear at all. People always lived around benefits. Perhaps because of benefits, in the next second, former friends, brothers, and even women would stab you in the back. All right, my world is just a little dangerous, but it's not a matter of life and death. Even if it's there, I can't bring you there now because I'm still missing the key items. When the opportunity arises, I'll bring you there. Yichen collected his thoughts and said with a chuckle, My lord, what else do you lack? This subordinate will go and get it for you. Even if I have to sacrifice my life, I won't hesitate. Zhao Meng immediately knelt on one knee and shouted in a deep voice. Yichen let out a long sigh and patted Zhao Meng's shoulder as he said, That thing isn't that easy to obtain. If you want to help me, then train your soldiers and conquer the world. Yes, my lord. Zhao Meng was silent for a moment before replying in a deep voice. My lord, but... Zhao Heng said nervously. Before he could finish, Yichen raised his hand to stop him. Develop the reincarnation village well. This is the greatest help you can give me. Yichen smiled and said, Yes, my lord. Even if I have to die, I won't hesitate. Zhao Heng cupped his fist and bowed. My lord, what can I do? Zhao Yu asked anxiously. She also wanted to help Yi Chun, but she didn't know what she could do for Yi Chun. Study medicine well. In the future, the soldiers and villagers of the reincarnation village will need your help. Yi Chun looked at Zhao Yu and said gently, But, Zhao Yu was a little anxious. In her opinion, studying medicine wouldn't help Yi Chun at all. This was because Yi Chun was in danger in the real world. Medicine wouldn't be of any help. Okay, don't think too much. Medicine is very useful. Think about it. If Zhao Meng is sick and there are enemies outside, how can Zhao Meng lead the army to fight? Yichen saw that Zhao Yu was thinking too much and hurriedly explained. My lord, even if I'm sick, I can still lead the army to fight. Zhao Meng shouted loudly as he knelt on one knee. Damn. Yichen's face stiffened and he glared at Zhao Meng. At this time, Zhao Heng kicked Zhao Meng's balls and left with Zhao Meng. Zhao Yu had just opened her mouth when Yi Chun raised his hand to stop Zhao Yu. My lord is too distant when you call me big brother in the future. Zhao Yu was stunned when she heard this, and then her face turned red. Just at this time, Yi Chun revealed an invasive gaze. Zhao Yu saw this, and her face turned even redder. She turned around and ran away while covering her face. Ding! Zhao Yu's favorability plus 10. Ding! Zhao Yu's favorability plus 10. Ding! Zhao Yu's favorability plus 10. Ding! Zhao Yu's favorability has reached 100. She has advanced to intimate. Yichen was stunned when he heard the system notification. Originally, Yichen wanted to use this method to stop Zhao Yu from continuing to help Yichen. But the result was out of Yi Chen's expectations. This could be considered as unintentional success now that it was intimate. If Yi Chun pulled Zhao Yu to sleep now, Zhao Yu wouldn't refuse and would be 100% obedient. Chapter 31. Thinking of this, Yi Chun couldn't help but smile. It felt good to hit the nail on the head. Originally, Yi Chun was having a headache about how to increase favorability and loyalty. Now it was all done. Yi Chun looked at Zhao Yu's back for a while, then went straight to Zhao Heng's house. When Yi Chun arrived, Zhao Meng was being scolded by Zhao Heng. It couldn't be helped. Zhao Meng was too blind. He didn't see that Yi Chun was trying to appease Zhao Yu. He even said that he could lead soldiers even if he was sick. My lord, when Zhao Hung saw Yi Chun, he couldn't help but be surprised. The broom that he used to hit Zhao Meng was thrown aside by Zhao Hung. Zhao Meng stood aside, his face red. He lowered his head and didn't speak. It couldn't be helped. He was a grown man, and he was beaten in the balls with a broom. It would be strange if he didn't blush. Yi Chun chuckled and nodded. Then, he looked at Zhao Meng and said, Zhao Meng, train the soldiers as soon as possible. 5 days later, we will go out and clear out the bandit camps that might appear. At the same time, we need to clear out the wild beasts. Because of the blue-eyed Tiger King and the Blackwater mystical snake, no wild beasts would appear around the reincarnation village. Even the forces of bandits would not appear. But now that they were all killed by Yi Chun, they could only give the reincarnation village 7 days of safety. In the end, these things would still respawn. If they weren't dealt with in time, they would be a great threat to the villagers who went out to work. Zhao Meng was worried that he couldn't find a way out. When he heard this, he shouted without hesitation, Yes, I swear to complete the mission. Zhao Meng looked at Zhao Hung and shouted, Dad, my lord has a mission. I'll go back to the camp first. Then, without giving Zhao Hung a chance to speak, he took big strides and ran away. My lord, Zhao Heng's mouth twitched. He looked at Yi Chun helplessly and called out, Ahem, old Zhao, do the blacksmiths and winemakers of the reincarnation village have any special products? I mean, do they have any unique skills? Yi Chun coughed. He didn't want to continue talking about Zhao Heng's teaching of his son. When Zhao Hung heard Yi Chun's question, he hurriedly replied, My lord, this old man has asked the 2 masters. The blacksmith was once an apprentice in the imperial city, but he didn't have any unique skills, and neither did the winemaker. When Yi Chun heard this, he could not help but frown. However, this did not exceed Yi Chun's expectations. After all, the game would not directly give you a brewer or blacksmith with specialty skills. This was something that could not be rushed. If they did not have it, they could only go and get it. Only when a territory had its own specialties would it be able to make a lot of money. With money, more and more money, he would be able to develop his territory faster, whether it was in the game or in real life. And this was the reason why Yi Chun had come to ask Zhao Hung. Yi Chun sighed and said, Okay, I understand. Don't stop the construction of the reincarnation village. Also, pay attention to the market often. If there is anything good, buy it directly. Just make sure it is helpful to the reincarnation village. Yes, my lord. Zhao Hung bowed and replied. Yi Chun nodded and returned to the village chief's mansion. Yi Chun, 3rd Baron level, 50 reputation, 150,000, increases the attractiveness of historical figures. Merit, 150,000. The standard for promotion is 100,000 merit points for a 3rd Baron. Force, 80 bone structure, 80 mental strength, 100 fortune. Hidden cultivation method, 9 revolution mystic technique, Shun Xiao imperial lightning chant equipment. None money. 11,000 gold. The game was not a simple game. Yi Chun clearly understood that, so he could not fall behind in his martial arts. However, when Yi Chun began to cultivate, his face suddenly darkened. The Shun Xiao imperial lightning chant was not something that Yi Chun could cultivate at the moment. If he wanted to cultivate it, he had at least reached the mortal evolution state. But soon, Yi Chun smiled proudly. He could cultivate the 9 revolution mystic technique now. As long as he had enough spirit herbs and spirit chi, Yi Chun could quickly reach the great heaven state and then break through the mortal evolution state to enter the primordial world. To put it simply, the difficulties of the great heaven and mortal evolution states did not exist for Yi Chun, who cultivated the 9 revolution mystic technique. The 9 revolution mystic technique was so domineering that it could be broken through with force. However, when he thought about the poor spirit herbs in the novice area, Yi Chun's face darkened. Damn it, if it wasn't enough, he would rob it. Thinking about this, Yi Chun began to cultivate the 9 revolution mystic technique. Time passed day by day. Yi Chun usually went to find Zhao Yu after cultivating. In the beginning, They would hold hands and talk about love. Then, he would kiss her cheeks and touch her from top to bottom. He was just short of breaking through the last layer. Yi Chun lived a carefree life, but the others in the game were in deep water and fire. Ding! Fengyan village was captured by bandits. Fengyan village was removed from the primordial world. Ding! Black Tiger village was captured by bandits. Black Tiger village was removed from the primordial world. Such announcements had not stopped since the moment they began to sound out. Many people didn't know how to develop their territory. They didn't know that bandits would attack the village at the beginning. If they could survive, they could continue to exist. If they couldn't, they would be destroyed. 5 days later, in the mysterious valley outside the reincarnation village, a flag with the word Yi was fluttering in the wind. On the white horse, Yi Chun wore the Mingguang armor and held the God Slayer. He quietly looked at the 42 soldiers of the reincarnation village standing straight in front of him. Each of them held a spear, wore fish scale armor, and carried a hornbow. In front of the formation stood a general wearing a tiger head armor and holding a ghost head sword. From today onwards, wipe out all forces around the reincarnation village. Whether it's beasts or bandits, can you do it? Yi Chun suddenly shouted, "Yes, yes, yes." The soldiers raised their spears in unison and shouted one after another. There weren't many people, but their momentum was very strong. At this moment, a murderous chi was also emitted. Chapter 32. At this moment, many villages were having a headache because of the bandits around their territory. In order to defend against the bandits, they paid a lot. Less than 10% of the soldiers they recruited survived. Some villages were even destroyed. Those who were rich used real-life credits to ask players for help. They easily got through this difficult situation, but they also paid a lot of casualties. But in Reincarnation Village, not even the shadow of bandits appeared. The entire village had developed steadily until now. At this moment, Reincarnation Village took the initiative to send out soldiers to clear out the bandits and beasts that had just respawned. They were all A and B rank soldiers. They were all wearing the same armor. They were all armed with the same spears and hornbows. Although there weren't many of them, their equipment was enough to make people's jaws drop. One had to know that the soldiers of other lords were still using wooden spears and bows. Some of them didn't even have decent weapons. But now, Reincarnation Village's equipment was not inferior to the Great Han Empire's regular army. These were all equipment that Yi Chun bought with his own money. It cost him 10,000 gold. If a worker wanted to do a good job, he must first sharpen his tools. When sending out soldiers to war, they must be equipped with good armor and weapons. Naturally, they must be equipped with the best equipment. This was something that Yi Chun was quite willing to do. Yi Chun's actions also attracted the gratitude of the soldiers of Reincarnation Village. Whether it was loyalty or morale, they all soared. Of course, these equipment were not produced by Reincarnation Village. Otherwise, they wouldn't have spent so much money. But Yi Chun didn't care. Looking at the shouting soldiers of Reincarnation Village, Yi Chun raised the Godslayer in his right hand and shouted, "Let's go." At this moment, Reincarnation Village officially revealed its ferocious fangs. Congratulations to Lord for your triumphant return. Congratulations to Lord for your triumphant return. Shouts after shouts came out from the mouths of nearly 400 villagers. At this moment, none of the villagers of Reincarnation Village were not excited. This was the Lord of Reincarnation Village. These were the soldiers of Reincarnation Village. Throughout the Great Han Empire, there was never a village that had such military strength. As the villagers of Reincarnation Village, they were proud. They were proud to be villagers of Reincarnation Village. Many wild beasts had already spawned around the Reincarnation Village. Due to the presence of the blue-eyed Tiger King and the Blackwater mystical snake, no wild beast had appeared for 7 days. However, this was a test that every village had to go through. However, these large numbers of wild beasts were all killed by the soldiers of Reincarnation Village. When all the beasts around were cleared, the soldiers of the Reincarnation Village pointed at the bandit camp. The reincarnation village was located in a valley. Outside the valley was an endless forest. This kind of environment was the best place for bandits to camp. This place was very different from the outside world. Outside, there were only 1 to 3 bandit camps or strongholds around the territory of Lord players. There were too many raider camps and mountain strongholds in Reincarnation Village. There were a total of 138 raider camps. This gave Yi Chun a lot of pressure. This was because these raider camps and strongholds would all attack Reincarnation Village. Yi Chun did not want to wait, so Yi Chun wanted to take the initiative to attack. Otherwise, it would be a disaster for Reincarnation Village if all the raiders and bandits in the forest were to attack. Yi Chun named the forest outside Reincarnation Village as the Reincarnation Forest. North of the Reincarnation Forest was a large mountain. It was about 30 miles away from Reincarnation Village. There was a medium-sized raider camp here. There were about 500 raiders. On this day, a group of fully armed soldiers arrived at the foot of the mountain. "My lord, should we send people to lure the raiders down the mountain and then kill them one by one?" Zhao Ming asked as he came to Yi Chun. "That would take too much time. Reincarnation Village cannot afford to wait." Yi Chun said as he dismounted from his horse. "My lord, I am willing to take the lead." Zhao Ming immediately realized Yi Chun's intention. He knelt down on one knee and shouted, "Your weapon is too weak. How about this? You come with me." Yi Chun looked at Zhao Ming and said, "My lord, absolutely not." Zhao Ming was shocked when he heard this. He guessed that Yi Chun wanted to attack the raider camp, but he did not expect that Yi Chun wanted to attack personally. Moreover, he wanted to take the lead. "My lord." The soldiers of Reincarnation Village heard this and knelt down on one knee and shouted. They did not want Yi Chun to take the risk. "I'm also a general. There's nothing I can't do. Moreover, you're all fighting for the Reincarnation Village and for me. How can I not join the battle? It's decided then. Later on, keep your spirits up and try not to get hurt." Yi Chun finished speaking and waved his right hand. The god-killing spear instantly appeared. "My lord." Zhao Ming wanted to persuade him again. "Shut up. Go. Get rid of all the hidden sentries in this bandits' camp. We'll sneak up and then directly attack the main camp of the bandits' camp." Yi Chun glared at Zhao Ming and then said, "My lord, you're not going to attack directly?" Zhao Ming was stunned and asked, "In the future, when the village has a military advisor, you should learn from him." Yi Chun rolled his eyes at Zhao Ming and said. The soldiers of the Reincarnation Village looked at each other. Chapter 33. Yi Chun, Zhao Ming, and the fully armed soldiers of the Reincarnation Village made their way to the raiders' camp. This place wasn't like the stronghold where there were fences for defense. There were only large tents here. Outside, groups of 3 to 5 people were eating and drinking. They didn't know that Yi Chun and the others had already arrived. After seeing the layout of the raiders' camp, Yi Chun raised his eyebrows and shouted, "Kill!" After Yi Chun finished speaking, he stood up abruptly. Holding the god-slaying spear, he charged forward. "Follow the Lord to kill the enemy." Zhao Ming was stunned and then shouted. Zhao Ming thought that Yi Chun wanted them to kill the enemy. But now it seemed that it wasn't the case. "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The eyes of the Reincarnation Village's soldiers turned red. How could they have imagined that the lord they followed, Yi Chun, would take the lead and shoulder the most dangerous front line by himself? In their eyes, the lords were high and mighty. It was good enough that they were willing to give them a full meal, let alone lead the troops. But Yi Chun not only gave them good food, good clothes, and good things, but he also led the troops. How could they not be moved? They were willing to follow such a lord. They were even willing to die for such a lord. Yi Chun didn't look back, but he could clearly feel the determination of the Reincarnation Village's soldiers behind him. After being stunned for a moment, he shouted, "Kill! Kill! Kill! Kill!" The eyes of the Reincarnation Village's soldiers began to spit fire. They couldn't wait to catch up with Yi Chun, but they weren't as fast as Yi Chun. At this time, Zhao Ming suddenly jumped and directly jumped to Yi Chun's side. Then he rushed towards the shocked raiders. "Enemy attack! Enemy attack!" Screams could be heard one after another. The bandits in the bandit camp were all terrified. When they saw the red eyes of the reincarnation village's soldiers rushing out from behind the rocks, they were scared out of their wits. The Great Han Army! The Great Han Army! This shout didn't matter, but the bandits who were originally yelled at by their leader to pick up their weapons to resist were instantly enraged. They were so scared that they fled in all directions. Poochie, Poochie! Godslayer began to harvest the lives of the bandits. At this moment, the invincible Godslayer showed its terrifying side. The bandits who were not wearing armor were pierced by the spear. The bandits who were wearing armor were also pierced by the spear effortlessly. The bandits who ran into Yi Chun were very unlucky. He would die if he brushed against it, and he would die if he touched it. Soon, Yi Chun's Mingwang Kai was dyed red with blood. Every time the spear was brandished, blood would inevitably splash out. Zhao Meng was originally guarding Yi Chun, but after watching for a while, he realized that none of the bandits could harm Yi Chun. Towards the end, he began to slaughter the bandits in a frenzy. Yi Chun and Zhao Meng's crazy killing intent quickly caused the bandits to collapse. At this time, the fully armed soldiers of the reincarnation village also bared their fangs. One after another, the bandits were killed. Cries, screams, and begging for mercy rose and fell one after another. In less than the time it took to drink a cup of tea, the camp of 500 bandits was forcibly flattened by Yi Chun and a few dozen people. A gust of wind blew, raising the strong smell of blood on the mountain peak. Yi Chun looked at the panicked bandits kneeling on the ground and couldn't help but frown. Killing captives was not something that could be done in ancient times. After a battle, it was very rare to kill captives. My lord, Zhao Meng was waiting for Yi Chun's decision at the side. Zhao Meng didn't care if he killed or not. As long as it was Yi Chun's order, he would carry it out without hesitation. Yi Chun pondered for a moment, then looked at the kneeling bandits and shouted in a deep voice, "You are all sinners. Now, I will give you a chance to redeem yourselves. Fight for the reincarnation village. If you don't die, then you will become a member of the reincarnation village. If you dare to escape or even betray us, then there is only one end for you. Death. Yes, we are willing." When the bandits heard this, they chose to submit to Yi Chun without hesitation. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for conquering a medium-sized bandit camp. The reward is 1,000 merit points. Take your weapons. Take the useful ones and throw away the useless ones. Then let's go. Yi Chun curled his lips and shouted. When Yi Chun's words fell, the bandits were all stunned. Then they were all ecstatic. Originally, they thought that Yi Chun would ask them to fight with their bare hands. But now, it seemed that this wasn't the case. The loyalty of these surrendered bandits instantly increased by a notch. It was because of good feelings and envy. The good feelings were because Yi Chun allowed them to have weapons. The envy was because of the armor and weapons of the reincarnation village's soldiers. With such soldiers, one could imagine how powerful the reincarnation village was. Naturally, they were willing to join such a village and live a good life. The bandits carefully picked up their weapons. They were afraid that they would cause a misunderstanding and be killed. Yi Chun didn't care about the surrender bandits. He went straight to the bandit camp's leader's tent. As soon as he entered the tent, Yi Chun saw 3 big chests. Yi Chun went straight to the chests and opened them. After seeing the contents of the chests, Yi Chun nodded his head in satisfaction. The 3 chests were filled with gold coins. After Yi Chun put away the items, the system's notification sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for obtaining 78,921 gold coins. The rewards from conquering cities were great. The richer and stronger the place was, the more rewards there would be. Attacking bandit camps and mountain strongholds were also great rewards. However, comparatively speaking, the bandit camps had the least rewards. And this bandit camp was ridiculously rich. Yi Chun looked at the gold coins in confusion. Then he was stunned. This reward seems to be 10 times higher than normal. Yes, this was compensation. Because there were too many mountain strongholds and bandit camps in the reincarnation village. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's eyes lit up. He walked out of the tent and led his subordinates down the mountain. They headed towards a bandit camp 10 miles to the east. Chapter 34. The second bandit camp was also a medium-sized camp. There were 120 more people than the first one. Yi Chen led the soldiers of Reincarnation Village and a group of surrender bandits and quickly arrived near the medium-sized camp. This bandit camp didn't choose a mountain or valley to set up camp. Instead, they set up camp in the forest. My lord, the terrain here is a bit open. Although there are trees blocking the view, it will be difficult for our previous plan to work. After Zhao Meng went to investigate, he hurriedly came to Yi Chen's side and said, "It doesn't matter. Didn't we just recruit bandits here? It's a simple matter." Yi Chen smirked and said. Hearing this, Zhao Meng was stunned. Then his eyes lit up and he said in a low voice, "My lord is wise." Yi Chen laughed and said, "Don't flatter me. Don't flatter me. Go, pick out 20 clever bandits and warn them not to reveal any flaws. I reckon that their weapons will be taken away. Tell them not to resist and to do as I say. Try to scatter the bandits so that we can kill them. Right, tell the surrendered bandits to do a good job. When a mission is over, we will reward them according to their contributions. Reincarnation Village has land and money. As long as they contribute, Reincarnation Village will not take away any of their contributions." "Yes, my lord," Zhao Meng said in a low voice. Then he ran to pass on Yi Chen's orders. Not long after, the surrendered bandits of Reincarnation Village let out a low cry. The reason was simple. Yi Chen's words of having land and money stimulated them. No matter if they were soldiers or bandits, the most basic goal was the same. They wanted to live a good life. In ancient times, land was the life of the people. Yi Chen naturally wanted to give them land. This alone was enough to stimulate them, not to mention the money. Everyone wanted to live a stable life. Now the opportunity was in front of them. As long as they fought and survived, they could live a happy life after returning to Reincarnation Village. Of course, there were some who wanted to bring glory to their ancestors. However, Yi Chen also said that they would be rewarded according to their contributions. Therefore, after Zhao Meng spoke for the time it took to brew a cup of tea, these surrendered bandits began to move one by one. Soon, the two surrendered bandits walked towards the bandit camp in fear and trepidation. Not long after, a group of 40 bandits arrived. If there were 30 bandits who pretended to surrender, then there would be 60 of them. This was a rule that a bored person in his previous life had figured out. This time, Yi Chen had brought more than 40 soldiers with him. Therefore, he chose 20 bandits to pretend to surrender. The result was not out of Yi Chen's expectations. 40 bandits came, and the weapons of the bandits who surrendered were also taken away. Just as the surrendered bandits began to throw away their weapons, Yi Chen, who was hiding behind a nearby tree, waved his right hand. Whoosh, whoosh. 40 arrows quickly flew out and hit the bandits who were looking at the surrendered bandits warily. These bandits fell to the ground one by one and died quickly. At this moment, Yi Chen looked at the surrendered bandits and gave his orders. 40 people come out. Those who are strong have priority. Follow 20 of them to the bandit camp. Remember, lower your head and don't look around. When you reach the bandit camp, it's best if you are not suspected. If you are, shout loudly. The Great Han Army is coming. Quickly run, then run towards the bandit camp. Do you hear me? Yes, my lord. The surrendered bandits replied in unison. After the bandits finished speaking, 60 people came out. This was far more than the 40 people that Yi Chen had asked for. This was also because of the reward that Yi Chen had mentioned. Otherwise, these surrendered bandits would not be so active. In the end, Yi Chen picked out 40 people who were relatively strong. Each of them carried a weapon and lowered their heads. Then, they followed the 20 bandits who surrendered empty-handed and walked towards the medium-sized bandit camp in front of them. Yi Chen brought Zhao Meng and the soldiers of Reincarnation Village. They bent down and quietly followed behind the bandits toward the bandit camp. Some bandits had high vigilance, while others had low vigilance. The bandit camp in front of them clearly did not have high vigilance. When the surrender bandits arrived at the camp, they found that there was something wrong with the 40 bandits. "Raise your heads," a bandit shouted. At this moment, the surrendered bandits all showed a terrified expression. Then they shouted in unison, "Quickly run! The Great Han army is coming. Kill!" Yichen stood up and shouted. He took the lead and rushed toward the bandit camp. "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The soldiers of Reincarnation Village shouted in unison. Then they followed Yichen's footsteps and rushed toward the bandit camp. At this moment, it was very easy to stop Yichen and the others. However, the reason why bandits were bandits was because they did not have a strong military force. They were even more afraid of encountering the Great Han army. Therefore, when the surrendered bandits of Reincarnation Village shouted, they all panicked. At this moment, Yichen suddenly appeared with his soldiers, scaring the bandits out of their wits. The terrain here could be considered open. However, when they found that only a portion of the people came, Yichen's Godslayer began to kill them. Zhao Meng also followed closely behind and began to slaughter. Then, the armored soldiers of Reincarnation Village followed. They held pikes, spears, and armor. In an instant, blood dyed the bandit camp red. And at this moment, the surrendered bandits also raised the weapons in their hands and attacked the bandits here. Yichen was like an arrow at this moment. Wherever he went, corpses were everywhere. Behind him was Zhao Meng, who helped Yichen clean up the bandits that were left behind. Quickly surround them. Surround them. They have fewer people." The leader of the bandit camp angrily shouted. However, it was useless. Yichen and Zhao Meng's existence was the sharp blade that broke the last line of defense in the hearts of the bandits. At this time, a brave and fierce general could greatly affect the situation of the battlefield. Not to mention, it was not one, but two generals. These bandits were simply unable to fight against the generals. In front of Yichen, none of the bandits here was a match. With a swing of his spear, broken limbs flew everywhere. Heads rolled on the ground from time to time. Blood dyed Yichen's armor red. It dyed the enemy's corpses red. It also dyed the ground red. Chapter 35. Quickly run. That madman is rushing over. Don't block my way. Get out of my way. Spare my life. The bandits were terrified. They screamed, cried, and begged for mercy. Yichen was madly rushing. Wherever there were more people, Yichen would go. He killed the bandits until they cried for their parents. The Godslayer's edge was unstoppable. Stop him! Stop him! Who can stop him? Reward him with 10,000 taels of gold. A scream came and instantly attracted Yichen's attention. After piercing two bandits who were running away, Yichen directly turned left and rushed toward a group of bandits who were obviously better dressed. The one who screamed for people to stop Yichen was undoubtedly the leader of the bandit camp. Yichen naturally would not let him go. Big leaders' shout instantly attracted the sound of countless heavy breathing. Money moved people's hearts. However, at this moment, Yichen swept out with his spear. Chi chi chi. Several bandits who took a few steps forward had their arms cut off. Their stomachs were cut open and their intestines flowed out. At this moment, Yichen also rushed to the bandits who were just tempted. The Godslayer flew up and down, wildly dancing left and right. Mournful screams sounded again. "No, I don't want to die. Spare my life." A bandit instantly extinguished the idea of getting 10,000 taels of gold and knelt on the ground with a plop. One knelt down to surrender, two knelt down to surrender. More and more bandits knelt down to surrender. Yichen was no longer blocked and went straight to the leader of the bandit camp. "No, don't kill me. I surrender." The big leader shouted in horror. However, Yichen's Godslayer did not hesitate to stab into the leader's mouth, and then the leader's head was pierced through. Yichen wouldn't kill captives indiscriminately, but this big leader had to die. Because he was hostile to Yichen, he was afraid because he didn't want to die. Once he had the chance, he could bring disaster to the Reincarnation Village. Yichen would not allow such an unstable factor to exist. The battle ended because of the death of the bandit camp's leader. Within a short period of time, more than 200 bandits had died at the hands of Yichen. Zhao Ming had also killed quite a lot, a total of 180 people. It wasn't that Zhao Ming was weaker than Yi Chun, but that his weapon wasn't as strong as Yi Chen's. After all, he was a military general with a score of over 90. It was a pity that he didn't have the corresponding cultivation technique. Otherwise, he would have definitely become a king-level general, and his abilities would have skyrocketed. Zhao Ming was the first general to follow Yi Chun. Even though his talent wasn't the best, he was loyal to Yi Chun. Yi Chun naturally wouldn't leave Zhao Ming alone. When he had the chance in the future, Yi Chun would not hesitate to turn Zhao Ming into a titled general. King level, emperor level, and saint level. Looking at the corpses of the bandits, Yi Chun let out a long breath and then shouted, "Clean up the battlefield and bury the corpses." "Yes, my lord." The surrender bandits all roared excitedly. None of them had died. At most, they had suffered some light injuries. The reason was simple. Yi Chun was too cruel, and there was also the equally cruel Zhao Ming. The two of them killed the bandits until they cried for their parents. How could they have the heart to fight back? Yi Chun went straight to the bandit camp's leader's tent. Seeing the 4 chests in the tent, Yi Chun's mood was quite good. The danger of the reincarnation village had increased by 10 times, but the rewards of victory had also increased by 10 times. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for capturing a medium-sized bandit camp. The reward is 1,000 merit points. Hearing the system's notification, Yi Chun curled his lips. The merit points were too little, but at least it wasn't easy for others to get merit points. Yi Chun went straight to the chests and put the gold in his bag. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for obtaining 123,211 gold. Yi Chun nodded his head in satisfaction and then walked out of the tent. At this time, the system's notification sounded. Ding! The reincarnation village has met the requirements to upgrade to a second-level village. Reincarnation village vice village chief Zhao Heng asked for instructions. Upgrade? The buildings were all finished? When Yi Chun left the reincarnation village and went out to kill bandits, he had instructed vice village chief Zhao Heng. Once all the buildings were finished, he would start upgrading the village. This was because there was a very important secret involved. There seemed to be no special requirements for upgrading a territory, but in reality, it wasn't. As long as the lords who built all the buildings in their territory and then upgraded their territory, they would receive a special blueprint for each major upgrade. Taking the reincarnation village as an example, when the village was upgraded to a town, he would receive a special blueprint. The blueprints were random, but without exception, they were all very powerful. Some of them were even unique. Yi Chun was reborn, so he naturally wouldn't miss this point. It wasn't that easy to upgrade a village. At this time, no one had upgraded a village to a second level, let alone a third or fourth level village. Yi Chun had already bought enough resources from the market, so there was no shortage of resources for the reincarnation village. The only thing stopping the reincarnation village from upgrading was its population. There was no limit to a first-level village. A second-level village could have a population of 500. A third or fourth-level village could have a population of 1,000. Originally, the reincarnation village didn't have enough people. But after Yi Chun attacked the bandit camp, many bandits surrendered and joined the reincarnation village. This solved the population problem for the reincarnation village. Yi Chun smiled and shouted, "Upgrade!" Ding! Congratulations to the reincarnation village for upgrading to a second-level village. Ding! Reincarnation village has met the requirements to upgrade to a third or fourth-level village. Reincarnation village vice village chief Zhao Heng asked for instructions. Upgrade? Upgrade! Ding! Congratulations to the reincarnation village for upgrading to a third or fourth level village. Following the system's notification, the reincarnation village in the mysterious valley changed again and again. It took up more space, and the buildings became more exquisite. If he wanted to change it completely, he would need to upgrade it to a town, and that moment was not far away. Chapter 36. Yichen let out a long sigh after hearing the system's notification. Then, he led the soldiers of the reincarnation village and the surrendered bandits to the next stronghold. Time passed slowly. The bandit camps in the reincarnation forest were broken through one by one. Yichen's wealth increased rapidly, and so did his merit points. But more and more bandits joined the reincarnation village after surrendering. 3 days later, Yichen's team had grown to 5,000 people. At this time, Yichen's eyes were fixed on the big and small strongholds. Different from the bandit camps, the strongholds had fences and high walls. Some even had city walls. This was also the reason why Yichen did not choose the strongholds in the beginning. But now, Yichen began to attack the strongholds. Green Wolf Mountain, Green Wolf Stronghold. The entire stronghold had a total of 11,321 people. It was a huge stronghold, and all of them were able-bodied men. At this moment, the bandits of Green Wolf Stronghold were eating meat and drinking wine. They were very happy. This was because they had robbed a caravan half an hour ago. They had stolen countless treasures and 200 carriages of wine. This was a big deal. The leader of Green Wolf Stronghold generously rewarded his subordinates. The entire stronghold was happy. Leader, should we leave some people to guard the stronghold? There are too few people guarding the stronghold gate. The military advisor of Green Wolf Stronghold looked at his subordinates who were drinking happily. He could not help but frown. Then, he looked at the leader of Green Wolf Stronghold and advised him. What's there to be afraid of? Who would come to this place? Even our brothers have to run far away when they go out to rob. Furthermore, who the hell would have the guts to attack the Green Wolf Bastion? Don't worry, it's fine. Come, military advisor, let's have a toast. The Green Wolf Bastion chief laughed heartily, then raised his cup and shouted. The military advisor was slightly taken aback. Then, he nodded in agreement. He was too careful. This place was in the middle of nowhere. It would be difficult for anyone to sneak in. At the foot of Green Wolf Mountain. Mengzi, is the drug enough? Yichen looked at the tall Green Wolf Mountain and asked without turning his head. Don't worry, my lord. This medicine is enough for them to sleep for 3 days. Zhao Meng chuckled and said, Very good. Yichen nodded in satisfaction. The Green Wolf Bastion was the only huge mountain stronghold in the reincarnation forest, and it was also the strongest mountain stronghold. Yichen didn't attack the small mountain stronghold, but chose to attack the large mountain stronghold instead. It wasn't because he was looking for trouble, but because he had seized a large amount of knockout drugs when he attacked a bandit camp not long ago. With this, Yichen naturally would not miss out on this opportunity. He immediately chose to attack the Green Wolf Bastion. This was because in 4 days, the bandits in the reincarnation forest would attack the reincarnation village, and the leader would definitely be the Green Wolf Bastion. Therefore, Yichen decided to take down the Green Wolf Bastion directly. Once the Green Wolf Bastion was taken down, the impending crisis of the reincarnation village would be resolved. 30 minutes later, Yichen raised the God Slayer and pointed it at the Green Wolf Bastion. Kill! 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 The soldiers of the reincarnation village shouted in unison, and then followed Yichen towards the Green Wolf Bastion. Not long after, Yichen led the soldiers to the 10-meter-high city wall of the Green Wolf Bastion. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The bandits on the city wall roared in shock and anger. So. The 10 or so bandits who were standing guard on the city wall were all shot to death, without exception. Yichen glanced at the city wall, and then walked toward the city gate that was still closed. Arriving at the city gate, Yichen raised the God Slayer with his right hand and fiercely slashed it. Rip! A sound was heard. Like a rag being torn apart, the gate bolt, which was as thick as a wash basin, was instantly cut open. Yichen then kicked out. Creak! A sound was heard. The city gate was kicked open. Yichen looked at the bandits lying on the ground, smiled, and shouted, Tie them all up. If anyone resists, kill without mercy. Yes, the soldiers of the reincarnation village answered excitedly. Following such a lord in battle is awesome. This was the thought of all the soldiers of the reincarnation village. Whether it was the surrendered bandits or the original soldiers of the reincarnation village, they all thought the same. The soldiers began to get busy, tying up all the bandits of the Green Wolf Bastion. They were tied up even more tightly than wild boars. Even if they woke up, they would not be able to break free. Yi-chan went straight to the Green Wolf Bastion, where the Hall of Brotherhood was hung. As soon as he entered the hall, Yi-chan was happy. The head of the Green Wolf Bastion was in a Guyu paralyzed posture and looked at Yi-chan angrily. Your strength is not bad, but I don't like the look in your eyes. Yi-chan looked at the head of the Green Wolf Bastion and said indifferently, You sinister and cunning scum, do you dare to fight with me fair and square? The head of the Green Wolf Bastion shouted with all his strength. Since ancient times, the winner takes all. Moreover, you are a bandit. Yi-chan narrowed his eyes and said, Since you want to be fair, I will give you a fair chance. My lord, you can't. Zhao Meng, who had just entered the hall, was shocked and hurriedly tried to persuade him. Chapter 37. Yi-chan raised his hand and stopped Zhao Meng from continuing. Then he shouted, Give him the antidote. Zhao Meng hesitated for a moment, but he still gave the knockout drug to the Green Wolf Bastion chief. Yi-chan didn't even look at the Green Wolf Bastion chief as he walked out of the hall. Outside, Yi-chan waved his right hand, and the Godslayer appeared. He then waited quietly for the Green Wolf Bastion chief to come out. Not long after, the chief of the Green Wolf stronghold, who was dressed in black armor and wielding a large spear, walked out with a sinister expression. Green Wolf Bastion Chief, Lang Qing, King Rank General, Level, 93 Force, 91 Bone Frame, 60 Mind, 80 Fortune, Hidden Skill, Mountain Quaking Technique, King Rank, Thunder Crash Spear Art, King Rank, Equipment, Black Cloud Armor, Mystic Rank, Thunder Crash Spear, Mystic Rank. There was a barrier between Force 90 and Force 91. Once one crossed it, they would enter the Khanate stage. The Green Wolf Bastion Chief, Lang Qing, had Force 91. Without a doubt, he was a Khanate stage general. Moreover, he had a King Rank skill, so he was a titled general, a true King Rank general. The power of a King Rank general was not something an ordinary general could compare to. Even Zhao Meng might not be able to win against the current Green Wolf Bastion chief. The result of the battle would most likely be Zhao Meng being killed by Lang Qing. And Yi-chan's power was even lower than Zhao Meng's. Yi-chan, second Baron level, 90 reputation, 150,000, increases the attractiveness of historical figures. Merit, 220,000 force, 90 bone frame, 80 mind, 100 fortune, hidden skill, 9 revolutions mystic art chaos, divine night lightning manipulation technique, chaos, equipment, God Slayer, damaged, Khanate spirit treasure, radiant armor, silver, money, 315,800 gold. I will kill you. I will definitely kill you. The chief of Green Wolf Bastion, Lang Qing, glared viciously at Yi-chan as he spoke through gritted teeth. He was the Green Wolf Bastion chief, and he had more than 10,000 bandits under his command. But now, all of his bandits were tied up like dumplings. He was now a commander without an army. He hated. He wanted revenge. Even if there were 5,000 pairs of eyes staring at him, even if the outcome of his victory was likely to be death, he still wanted revenge. Cut the crap. Yi-chan narrowed his eyes as the Godslayer thrust his spear forward without hesitation. Simple, crude, and without any fancy moves, the spear pierced towards Lang Qing with incomparable speed. Come at me. Lang Qing roared with a ferocious look on his face as he brandished his spear. Clang! Yi-chan's spear that was thrusting towards Lang Qing was quickly swatted away. Die! Lang Qing shouted furiously. The thunder spear in his hand pierced towards Yi-chan's heart. Yi-chan's right hand was still numb. When he saw the incoming spear, his eyes narrowed. His right foot suddenly withdrew, and at the same time, his body slanted to the side, instantly dodging Lang Qing's spear. At this moment, a smug smile appeared on Lang Qing's face. That smile was very sinister. Die! Lang Qing's attack did not stop as his thunder spear instantly swatted towards Yi-chan. My lord! Zhao Ming was shocked. However, at this moment, a swift spear flashed by. The tip of the spear aimed directly at Lang Qing's heart. The expression of Lang Qing, who had a sinister smile on his face, suddenly changed. He did not expect Yi Chun to react so quickly. He had no choice but to give up his attack on Yi Chun and jump back. I didn't expect you to have such rich experience at such a young age. Lang Qing looked at Yi Chun with a dignified expression and said in a deep voice, "There are many things you didn't expect." Yi Chun said expressionlessly. At this moment, Yi Chun began to concentrate and prepare for his next attack. What a joke. You haven't even reached the Xiantian realm, yet you still dare to boast so shamelessly. Today, I will let you see clearly that those who haven't reached the Xiantian realm are all ants. Lang Qing roared with laughter when he heard this. In the next second, Lang Qing raised his thunder spear. A powerful aura instantly condensed on his body and pressed towards Yi Chun. When Zhao Ming saw this, his expression changed drastically. However, when he wanted to warn Yi Chun, he immediately closed his mouth again. This was because Yi Chun's current state did not seem right. It was as if he was preparing for something. From Yi Chun's eyes, it could be seen that they were filled with ruthlessness and coldness. At this moment, Yi Chun was fully focused on the front. Lang Qing's Xiantian realm aura instantly descended, but Yi Chun's expression did not change. When Lang Qing's thunder spear began to emit a green light, a weak aura began to appear on Yi Chun's body. As soon as this aura appeared, it became stronger and stronger. Damn it! When Lang Qing felt the aura coming from Yi Chun's body, his expression changed drastically. Zhao Ming was ecstatic. Dying. Lang Qing did not want to wait any longer and stabbed his spear towards Yi Chun. A violent wind suddenly rose and thunder rumbled. Kill! Yi Chun's aura also condensed to the peak at this moment. His eyes suddenly opened and he stabbed out with a simple and unadorned spear. At this moment, a dark light suddenly appeared on the tip of the Godslayer's spear, as if it was going to devour everything. Ding! The tips of the two great spears collided. Lang Qing was stunned. At this moment, the thunder spear turned into dust and scattered with the wind. At this moment, the Godslayer continued to stab towards Lang Qing. Lang Qing felt the threat of death and immediately regained his senses. His expression immediately changed. It was too late. Poochie, a sound was heard. The Godslayer instantly pierced through the black cloud armor and then pierced through Lang Qing's heart. Chapter 38. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for comprehending the basic spear technique, divine level. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for being the first to kill a king-level general. Special reward, 1 lucky draw. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for advancing to the innate level. Detected the 9 revolutions mysterious art and the divine night thunder technique. The conditions are met. Player Yi Chun has advanced to a king-level general. Finally succeeded. After Yi Chun heard a series of system prompts, his eyes suddenly lit up. Yi Chun's previous strength was not even as good as Zhao Ming, but he insisted on fighting with Lang Qing. His purpose was actually very simple. Yi Chun did not want to slowly increase his strength. The 9 revolutions mysterious art could ignore the barrier of the realm. However, this required time, and Yi Chun did not want to wait. In addition to breaking the barrier of the realm by oneself, there was another way to break through in battle. And Lang Qing, without a doubt, was Yi Chun's stepping stone. If he won, he would advance to the innate level. If he lost, his level would drop by 10, and his position in the hearts of the reincarnation village soldiers would be lowered. However, Yi Chun won the bet. Not only did he advance to the innate level, but he also comprehended the spear technique by himself. Yi Chun did not lack cultivation techniques. The 9 revolutions mysterious art and the divine night thunder technique, which one of them was placed in the ancient world, were famous cultivation techniques, and they were top-level existences. Yi Chun did not know any skills. Even if a skill appeared in the market, Yi Chun did not learn it. His purpose was for this moment, to comprehend on his own. Now, his wish was fulfilled. He comprehended the divine level. The levels of cultivation techniques, starting from the lower level, were lower level, middle level, upper level, absolute level, king level, emperor level, sacred level, divine level. These were the martial arts of the mortal world. There were more after that, but they could only be learned after going to the ancient world. Divine level was the pinnacle of martial arts in the mortal world. Legend has it that every divine level cultivation technique had a chance to advance to the innate level. However, in Yi Qin's previous life, no one had ever obtained a divine level cultivation technique. But at this moment, Yi Qin had obtained it. Just as Yi Qin heaved a sigh of relief, a series of world announcements instantly rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Qin for being the first to comprehend a divine skill. Special reward. Spear God title. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Qin for being the first to comprehend a divine skill. The reward is innate attribute points +5. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Qin for being the first to comprehend a divine skill. The reward is innate attribute points +5. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Qin for becoming the first king level general. Special reward. Innate stats +3. The world channel was in an uproar. F*CK. Boss Yi Qin, 66666. Boss Yi Qin, do you want to take me in as your underling? I, Yiliang Qin, am willing to be your underling. Boss Yi Qin, I know how to warm your bed and make your blankets. Please take me along. The title of Spear God is awesome. When can I get such a title too? What's the use of innate attributes? Please explain. Brother Yi Qin, can you turn on your friend list? I have something urgent to discuss with you. Yi Qin, come to my League of Tyrants. As long as you're willing to come, I'll give you the position of Deputy League Leader. Come to my Flying Tiger Village. I'll give you the position of Deputy Village Chief. Forget it. They're the #1 village in the wilderness. You want them to be your Deputy Village Chief? Did you lack calcium since you were young? Boss Yi Qin, come out and say something. Where are you? I'll go and find you. The world channel was flooded with messages. The screen in front of Yi Qin kept scrolling. Yi Qin glanced at it and closed the world channel. Long live the Lord. Long live the Lord. After a short moment of silence, the Green Wolf Bastion was filled with roars. The soldiers of the Reincarnation Village raised their weapons and shouted again and again. They were excited, they were shocked, and they felt extremely honored. This was because their lord, Yi Qin, had killed a Xiantian King level general with a Hotian cultivation base. Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord! The cheers grew louder and louder. Yi Qin smirked and put away the Godslayer. With a plop, Lang Qing's body fell to the ground. Several items appeared beside Lang Qing's body. Yi Qin glanced at them, then picked up a ball of light and threw it to Zhao Meng. My lord! Zhao Meng saw the ball of light that Yi Qin threw, and his whole body trembled. He wasn't afraid, nor was he angry. He was excited. General Soul, Lang Qing after using it. You can receive the General's lifetime knowledge. Yi Qin gave Zhao Meng the General's Soul. After Zhao Meng used it, he would automatically receive all of Lang Qing's abilities, including Lang Qing's cultivation method. Simply put, once Zhao Meng used the General's Soul, Lang Qing, he would directly become a king-level general. You don't want it? If you don't want it, then I'll put it away. Yi Qin glared at Zhao Meng and said, Yes, yes. Zhao Meng opened his mouth and swallowed it without hesitation. In the next second, a ball of light appeared on Zhao Meng's body. Yi Qin glanced at Zhao Meng, who was like a light bulb, and smiled. Then he picked up the remaining items on the ground. Chapter 39. Mountain Quake Art, King Tier, True. Black Cloud Armor, Dark Tier, True. Thunder Spear, Dark Tier, True. After looking at the 3 items, Yi Qin couldn't help but be stunned. Previously, Yi Qin had directly turned the Thunderclap Spear into dust, and he had also pierced a hole in the Black Cloud Armor. It was possible for the 2 pieces of equipment to drop, but they would be reduced by 1 level because of the damage. That's right, the first kill would increase the reward by 1 level. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's mouth twitched, but he had no choice. He had been so focused on the battle that he couldn't care about the equipment. The Mountain Quake art is trash in front of the 9 Revolutions mystic art. It can be sold, but only after people discover the secret of the word true. The Thunder Spear is trash in front of the Godslayer. It's also something to be sold. As for the Black Cloud armor, although the level is passable, it's useless in the Eldritch world. However, it can be used in the real world temporarily. After muttering to himself, Yi Chun directly chose to equip the Black Cloud armor, and Yi Chun put away the Mountain Quake art, King Tier True, and Thunder Spear, Dark Tier True. Only then did Yi Chun look at his attribute panel. Yi Chun, second class Baron title, Spear God, characteristics. When using spear weapons, attack power x2, accuracy x2, comprehension plus 100, King Tier, general level, 91 reputation, 150,000, increases the attractiveness of historical figures, merit, 220, 000 force, 91 bone frame, 80 spirit, 100 fortune. Hidden cultivation method, 9 revolutions mystic art, chaos, divine knight, thunder manipulation technique, chaos, equipment, Godslayer, damaged, innate treasure, Black Cloud armor, dark tier, true money, 315800 golden 8 attribute points. 8 Yi Chun was slightly stunned. Then, he stared at an attribute in the attribute panel and murmured, "In my previous life, no one had received an innate attribute as a reward. When I heard about attribute points, I thought it was an acquired attribute. I didn't expect it to be an innate attribute." Innate attributes were very special. They could continue to increase attributes that couldn't be increased. For example, the bone frame. The bone structure determined a person's innate talent, the speed of cultivation, and the height they could reach. If he wanted to upgrade his bone frame, he would have to use heavenly treasures and innate attribute points. Yi Chen's bone frame was only 80. But in the Eldritch world, any random person would have a connate constitution or even stronger. Therefore, after Yi Chun seriously acquired the innate attribute points, he felt extremely comfortable from head to toe. Even though great desolate Ian's spirit herbs were everywhere, there were not that many natural treasures that could raise one's bones. Therefore, Yi Chun placed a lot of importance on innate attributes. Without any hesitation, he added 8 innate attributes to his bone frame. His bone frame instantly changed from 80 to 88. An indescribable feeling spread out from Yi Chen's body. That kind of comfortable feeling went straight to the depths of his soul. Of course, the use of innate attribute points was not only limited to this. They could also be used to break through the barrier of realms. For example, the barrier between innate and exuvia. At that time, the martial strength attribute points would reach 100 and could no longer be increased. But once the innate attribute points were added, it would immediately break through and advance to the mortal evolution state. Once one reached exuvia, one could directly ascend to the Eldritch world. In the Eldritch world, there were opportunities everywhere, but there were also dangers everywhere. One would die completely after dying 10 times, whether it was in the game or in reality. Yi Chun was not afraid of the horrors of the Eldritch world. Even if he really entered the Eldritch world, he could still make a living. But Yi Chun did not want to go, not now. The reason was not complicated. Firstly, it was because of the God-level village creation token. It could continuously gather providence as the territory expanded, and it could even achieve the entire country's ascension. Once Yi Chun successfully established his own empire and ascended to the Eldritch world, then Yi Chun could play a very big game of chess. Snatch innate merit. Snatch the providence of the Eldritch world. Another reason why Yi Chun did not want to go to the Eldritch world now was because of his innate attribute points. Great desolate Ian's spirit herbs were everywhere, and there were many that could raise one's cultivation level. But there were not many heavenly treasures that could raise one's bone frame. Hence, Yi Chun did not want to miss the opportunity to raise his bone frame. And this time, the system reward gave Yi Chun a reminder. As the beginner's area of the 3 kingdoms, there were countless benefits, and the innate attribute points were one of them. Yichen looked at his bone frame again, and his lips curled. He then looked at the huge wheel that was floating beside him. This was the system rewards lucky draw, and there was only one chance. Whether it was good or bad, it all depended on luck. Yichen looked at the wheel, then raised his hand and tapped on it. The wheel started to spin faster and faster. Stop! The wheel slowed down and slowed down again. The moment the wheel stopped, a building blueprint appeared in front of Yichen. He raised his hand and grabbed it, and Yichen was stunned on the spot. Ding! Congratulations to player Yichen for obtaining SSS grade building blueprint, Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Copper Sparrow Pavilion, unique SSS grade basic attributes. Territory's providence permanently increased by 10%. Territory's blessing plus 100, stability plus 10, prosperity plus 10 special attributes. 1. Peaceful song and dance. Greatly increase the popularity of the people, greatly increase the spawn rate of refugees. Once a month, 3 days. Requires 4 beauties. 2. Stop the war. Quell the war, last for 3 days, and all attacks are ineffective. Once a month. Requires 8 beauties. 3. War song. Greatly increase the power of all the soldiers in the territory. Once a month. Requires 16 beauties. 4. Resurrection. Against the will of the heavens. Resurrect the dead. Once a month. Requires 81 beauties. Construction requirements. Phoebe X 100,000. Yellow pearwood X 100,000. Red sandalwood X 100,000. Fine gold X 100,000. Fine iron X 100,000. Fine copper X 100,000. White jade X 1,000. Emerald X 1,000. Pearl X 100,000. Agate X 100,000. Gem X 100,000. Crystal X 100,000. Note: ordinary women are ineffective. The more beauties there are, the stronger the property. After reading the introduction of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, Yichen's eyes suddenly lit up. The properties of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, no matter which one, would be of great help to the Reincarnation Village and Yichen. The seemingly useless Stop the War also had an extremely important effect. If Yichen was not in the Reincarnation Village, and the Reincarnation Village was attacked, the Stop the War for 3 days would give Yichen enough time to return to the Reincarnation Village. This is forcing me to take in all the beauties in the world. Diaochan, the Xiao Qiao Kai Wenji. If all the beauties in the small world were to be taken into the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, how many would there be? Yichen looked at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion blueprint and muttered. Player Yichen chose to plunder the Green Wolf Bastion. Calculating resources. Ding. Congratulations to player Yichen for obtaining 1 million rations. 238,1281 taels of gold. 310,2331 taels of silver. Asterisk copper. 100 boxes of jewelry. Cavalry camp. Blueprint. X1. Heavy cavalry camp. Blueprint. X1. Drill ground. X1. Mingwang armor. Blueprint. X1. Point steel and spear. Blueprint. X1. Hornbow. Blueprint. X1. Secret room. Blueprint. X1. Grain depot. Blueprint. X1. The system's notification ended. Yichen's eyes lit up. This harvest was huge. Increasing it by 10 times was awesome. Wait. Yichen suddenly thought of something and looked at the stack of blueprints in his bag. Not long after, Yichen took out the secret room blueprint. The moment he saw the blueprint, Yichen walked to the front yard without hesitation. Arriving at the front yard, Yichen looked at the majority of the prisoners who had woken up and asked, "Does anyone know where the secret room of the stronghold is?" The bandits who had just woken up looked at each other with confused looks on their faces. No one knows. Yichen's face darkened, and he shouted, I know." A weak voice came. He was the military advisor of the Green Wolf Bastion. He looked so frail that he could be blown away by a gust of wind. He even looked a little feminine. "Lead the way." Yichen glanced at the military advisor of the Green Wolf Bastion and said, Yes. The military advisor's body was very weak. He tried to get up a few times, but failed. At this time, 2 soldiers from the Reincarnation Village came forward and supported the military advisor. Then They walked toward the location, he said. Yichen followed behind. Not long after, Yichen arrived at the backyard of the Green Wolf Bastion. There was a fake mountain here. Beside the fake mountain was a stone statue of a giant wolf. Sir, this is the place. The claws of the stone wolf can be pressed down. If you press it, the door to the secret room will open. The military advisor did not wait for Yi Chun to speak and hurriedly said. When the two soldiers from the reincarnation village heard this, they prepared to press the door to the secret room. Yi Chun frowned and said, "Wait, let the military advisor press it." The moment Yi Chun's words fell, the two soldiers from the reincarnation village stopped in their tracks. The military advisor's expression changed drastically. "How dare you?" Yi Chun shouted and summoned the Godslayer without hesitation. Chapter 41. All of you die. When the Green Wolf Bastion strategist saw this, a sinister expression appeared on his face. He screamed as he dashed towards a stone wolf statue. "You must have a death wish." Yi Chun's eyes narrowed as he threw the Godslayer without hesitation. Pucci, the God-slaying spear pierced through the back of the Green Wolf Bastion's military advisor and stabbed into the ground. "Oh!" The Green Wolf Bastion strategist screamed crazily. Because of the pain, because of the madness. "You're very sincere." "Unfortunately," Yi Chun said indifferently as he looked at the Green Wolf Bastion strategist. "I hate you." "Why? Why did you kill my lover?" "If you didn't kill him, I would have persuaded him to surrender." "It's you. It's all your fault. I will kill you. I will kill you." The Green Wolf Bastion strategist screamed as he stared at Yi Chun with bloodshot eyes. "Your lover?" Yi Chun was stunned. Then his face froze. "Damn it. I only killed the chief of the Green Wolf Bastion. What the F***CK is this? Tell me, where's the secret chamber? I will bury the two of you together. Otherwise, the two of you will be chopped up and fed to the dogs." Yi Chun glanced at the Green Wolf Stronghold's military advisor with a disgusted expression and shouted. "You!" The Green Wolf Bastion strategist still wanted to act tough. However, he soon fell silent. After a while, the Green Wolf Bastion strategist asked, "Will you really do what you promised? Speak." Yi Chun frowned as he shouted coldly. The Green Wolf Bastion strategist gritted his teeth and pointed at the fake mountain. "There's a palm-sized stone wolf statue there. Pull it up and the door to the secret chamber will open." When Yi Chun heard this, he walked over and grabbed the Godslayer's handle. With a jolt, the Green Wolf Bastion strategist's organs were pulverized. It didn't matter if it was true or not. If it was false, the Green Wolf Bastion strategist would definitely not be telling the truth. In that case, Yi Chun would have no choice but to search the entire Green Wolf Bastion. However, Yi Chun felt that the military advisor of the Green Wolf Bastion was telling the truth. It wasn't hard to see from his eyes that this person had true love for the dead fort master. After retrieving the Godslayer, Yi Chun looked at the two reincarnation village soldiers who still had lingering fears and said, "Be careful." "Yes, my lord." The two of them replied in unison. Then, they carefully went to the fake mountain. After finding the palm-sized stone wolf, they pulled it with force. A creaking sound was heard. A downward passage appeared in the open space in front of the rockery. "Go, bury him together with the Green Wolf Bastion chieftain." Yi Chun heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the passageway appear. "Yes, my lord." The two soldiers from the reincarnation village bowed and answered. Then they carried the body of the Green Wolf Bastion strategist and left. Yi Chun walked straight to the entrance of the secret chamber. The passageway was not dim because there were luminous pearls the size of a baby's fist hanging on the walls. These luminous pearls were all of the best quality. Any one of them could be sold for a sky-high price of 100,000 taels of gold. Along the way, Yi Chun counted the number of night pearls. There were 36 of them. When he arrived at the secret chamber, a luminous pearl the size of a grown man's fist was instantly reflected in Yi Chun's eyes. The moment he saw this huge luminous pearl, Yi Chun's eyes suddenly widened. Then, the corners of his mouth curled up. "That thing is done," Yi Chun said excitedly. Then, he looked at the items stored in the secret chamber. A blueprint, a token, and an ancient elixir bottle were all placed on the stone table in the secret chamber. Yi Chen picked up the 3 items. After checking them one by one, he let out a long sigh. 100 Flowers wine recipe. One and only characteristics. One of the top 10 wines in the wilderness. Special core profession change order. One and only unnamed characteristics. Unlimited advancement. Limited number of people, 10,000. Yang restoration pill. Revive people who have died less than 3 days ago. The value of any one of these 3 items far exceeded the value of the Green Wolf Bastion. The recipe of 100 Flowers wine could become a specialty of the Reincarnation Village. Moreover, it was a top-grade specialty. Even in the wilderness, it would be in short supply. It could bring Yi Chen endless wealth. The special core profession change order was also powerful, because it had the characteristic of unlimited advancement. In other words, Yi Chen could form a special core of 10,000 people. The rank of the core could be continuously upgraded from F class. Even surpassing SSS class was not a problem. A core with a rank was more than 30% stronger than an ordinary army. The higher the rank, the stronger the combat power. And a special core was even more powerful. For example, recorded in history, the White Horse Army, the First Army, the Formation Breaker, and so on. These core were special existences. They were unique and irreplaceable. And Yi Chen now had the special core profession change order. In other words, as long as Yi Chen gathered enough people, he could instantly obtain an F-class special core. Moreover, it was a core with unlimited possibilities. As for the Yang restoration pill, it was also heaven-defying. The dead could not be revived, but the Yang restoration pill could bring the dead back to life. With the Yang restoration pill, even if Yi Chen died, it did not matter. If he died, he could revive with full health and mana. There was no loss. Basically, there would not be a secret room in the stronghold. At most, it would be a warehouse. If not for the secret room, blueprint, I might have overlooked the existence of a secret room. Sure enough, the first kill and the tenfold reward are different. After Yi Chen finished talking to himself, he immediately put away the 3 items and left the secret room. When he left the secret room, Yi Chen did not forget to take down the luminous pearls on the wall one by one, especially the luminous pearl that was the size of an adult's fist. Yi Chen wanted to use it to do something that could help Yi Chen rise faster. Chapter 42. Reincarnation Forest, Green Wolf Bastion. The bandits and robbers who had been tied up like dumplings all woke up. The bandits who had woken up chose to surrender without any hesitation. There were no exceptions. Small people had their own intelligence. No one wanted to die if they didn't surrender. Yi Chen naturally wouldn't refuse their surrender. Regardless of whether they were bandits or bandits, their aptitude was at least D rank. Their average aptitude was C rank. There would be a few B ranks, but they were very few. At least 70% of the 10,000 bandits had C rank aptitude. They could all become soldiers of Reincarnation Village. Yi Chen wanted to rise quickly. The more soldiers he had, the better. My lord, are you going to use this place as a training ground for Reincarnation Village? Zhao Meng came to Yi Chen's side and asked. Indeed. Yi Chen smiled and nodded. But my lord, there are still many bastions in Reincarnation Forest that haven't been taken down. Green Wolf Bastion will become a huge threat to Reincarnation Village. Zhao Meng hurriedly tried to persuade him. You still want to follow me to attack the mountain stronghold? Yi Chen laughed out loud and asked, My lord, you mean? I'm going to train here? Zhao Meng was stunned and asked in shock. Of course. Yi Chen nodded. No, my lord, the Cyan Wolf Bastion is the only large mountain stronghold in the Reincarnation Forest, but there are no less than 5 large mountain strongholds. Each large mountain stronghold has at least 5,000 people. Just as Zhao Meng said this, Yi Chen raised his hand to stop him. 5,000 people is nothing to be shocked about. Don't forget, I'm a player. Moreover, do you think I'll care about a large bastion with 5,000 people? Yi Chen looked at Zhao Meng and asked seriously. Zhao Ming was trying to persuade Yi Chun because he was afraid that Yi Chun would be in danger. But Yi Chun didn't want to wait. Moreover, Yi Chun wasn't worried about attacking the large bastions. Since he had the class change order, he naturally had to use it immediately. Moreover, he had to quickly raise the level of his army. During the era of the Three Kingdoms, strength was everything. Whether it was for the sake of reaping benefits from the historical storyline or for the sake of ascension, Yi Chun had to have a powerful force and influence. To put it simply, the bigger and harder the fist, the better. If anyone refused to submit, he could just beat them to death, and everything would be resolved. Zhao Ming opened his mouth, wanting to persuade him again, but when the words reached his mouth, he swallowed them back. After hesitating for a while, Zhao Ming finally spoke. "My lord, please be more careful. Otherwise, even if this general dies 10,000 times, I will not be able to absolve myself from the blame." When Yi Chun heard this, he couldn't help but smile. He patted Zhao Ming's shoulder and said, "Don't worry. I want to take 10,000 people with me. You can take the rest. Train your troops well. This is your mission. My lord, this general only needs 1,000 people." "No, 100 people will be enough," Zhao Ming hurriedly said when he heard that Yi Chun only wanted to take 10,000 people. Yi Chun glared at Zhao Ming, then said, "I said 10,000 people, so I naturally have my reasons. Go, select 10,000 people with rank C aptitude." After speaking, Yi Chun took out the class change order from the special forces. The moment Zhao Ming saw the class change order, he was stunned. Then he shouted in ecstasy, "Congratulations, my lord! Congratulations, my lord! With this, my lord will definitely be able to sweep the world and unify the world. Don't flatter me. Go, find a people for me." Yi Chun shook his head helplessly, then scolded. "This general will immediately prepare it for my lord," Zhao Ming said happily and ran out. Yi Chun shook his head helplessly, then walked to the Green Wolf Bastion's drill ground and waited quietly. Very quickly, 10,000 people gathered in the drill ground. Yi Chun stood on the high platform and looked at the black mass of people below. He felt a little refreshed, because these were all Yi Chun's soldiers. Originally, they were all rank C aptitude soldiers, but after the reincarnation village's attributes, they were all rank A soldiers. The 10,000 people below the platform all knew what was about to happen. None of them were not excited. Originally, after their surrender was accepted by Yi Chun, they were excited because their aptitude had increased by 2 levels. And now, they had encountered a great opportunity: become a member of the Special Forces. This was a supreme honor. No one would not be excited. No one would not go crazy. "Are you willing to fight for me?" Yi Chun raised the class change order and shouted. "Yes." "Are you willing to fight for the reincarnation village?" Yi Chun shouted again. "Yes." "Are you willing to fight for the future?" Yi Chun shouted. "Yes." "We swear to follow you, my lord. Fight for my lord. Fight for the reincarnation village. Fight for the future." Loud shouts continuously sounded, shaking the sky. Yi Chun raised his hand, and the voices below the platform stopped abruptly. Remember today's words. Fight for me. Fight for the reincarnation village. Blood can be dried, but your will can never be depressed. Live for the reincarnation village. Die for the reincarnation village's soul. After Yi Chun finished speaking, he squeezed the class change order in his right hand. A 7-colored light instantly appeared and then enveloped all the soldiers on the drill ground. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for using the class change order. Please name the army. Reincarnation, Yi Chun said without hesitation. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for forming the Special Forces Reincarnation. As soon as the system's notification sound ended, the 10,000 Samsara Legion soldiers on the drill ground opened their eyes in unison. Swoosh, the sound of one knee falling to the ground in unison was instantly heard. Greetings, my lord. The Samsara Legion soldiers shouted in unison. An austere, majestic, and iron-blooded aura began to appear, and then it became stronger and stronger. Chapter 43. Ding. Congratulations to Samsara Legion for comprehending the army skill, Immovable Mountain. Ding. Congratulations to Samsara Legion for comprehending the army skill, Fiery Invasion. Samsara Legion, one and only special army grade. F numbers, 10,000 army skill. Fiery Invasion, Immovable Mountain. Fiery Invasion. When attacking the enemy, it's like a prairie fire, unstoppable. Immovable Mountain. When the army is stationed, it's like a mountain, unshakable. As soon as the system notification ended, Yi-chun was stunned for a moment. Then he smirked. I didn't expect the Samsara Legion to comprehend 2 army skills at the very beginning. Moreover, they're both top-notch army skills. Thinking of this, Yi-chun looked at the Samsara Legion below the stage. He was full of anticipation. At this moment, the system's world announcement sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi-chun for being the first to establish a special army, Samsara Legion. Special reward, 1 million reputation points. Following the system announcement, the entire world channel became noisy again. What the F***, CK? Guru Yi-chun, you're too awesome. How long has it been? And there's another world announcement. Big bro Yi-chun, I'll warm your bed for you. Yi-chun, for the sake of humanity, tell us all the secrets you know. As soon as this message appeared, the world channel instantly cleared. 3 seconds later, countless messages appeared. Yeah, Yi-chun, tell us everything you know. There are many ferocious beasts out there. They bite anyone they see and start eating without waiting for death. Yi-chun, if you still have humanity left, tell us all the secrets you know. Yi-chun, you can't continue being selfish. Can you bear to see countless people die tragically? Yeah, those beasts are becoming more and more ferocious and powerful. Moreover, they're all ridiculously smart. Tell us all the secrets. Yi-chun, Fengyan Alliance invites you. As long as you're willing to come, you can name any conditions you want. If you want money, we have money. If you want women, we have women. Yi-chun, on behalf of Shanghai, I give you the position of honorary mayor and invite you to a secret meeting. I represent the capital. The world channel was in chaos. Many people used righteousness and even threats to force Yi-chun to reveal the secrets of the game. Some even directly invited Yi-chun to join their forces. However, no matter what they said, how they shouted, how they threatened, how they talked about morality and ethics, Yi-chun did not say a word. This was because Yi-chun did not open the world channel at all. He even turned off the friend function. Luoyang, you haven't added Yi-chun yet? This bastard turned off the friend function. How do I add him? Countless people had not given up trying to contact Yi-chun. However, the results made them extremely depressed and even furious. Yi-chun had turned off the world channel for the sake of peace and quiet. He also knew early on that there would be countless people contacting him. Yi-chun knew better than anyone else that no matter what excuses these people used, they were actually doing it for themselves. The world had changed greatly, and people had already discovered the secret of the game's ability to increase their strength. No matter who it was, they were all eager to know more. Some people even wanted to control Yi-chun, whether it was an individual or a large force. Their calculations were very good, but unfortunately, Yi-chun had already seen through everything. Reincarnation Forest, Green Wolf Bastion. When the Samsara Legion's momentum reached its peak, Yi-chun waved his right hand and shouted, "Let's go. Wipe out the bandits. Kill, kill, kill." Tens of thousands of people shouted in unison, and then followed Yi-chun out of Green Wolf Bastion. At this moment, the Samsara Legion officially stepped onto the world stage, and its ferocious fangs began to appear in the world. Zhao Meng watched as Yi-chun led the Samsara Legion away, and sighed with a conflicted expression. He wanted to follow, but unfortunately he could not. "General, are we going to set up camp here, or?" A newly promoted Chiliarch asked. Zhao Meng snapped out of his daze when he heard his subordinate's question and shouted, 1,000 men will be stationed in each of the 4 directions. The rest will be in the middle of the bastion. If any bandits appear, kill them immediately. Yes, General, The chilly arch replied loudly. Zhao Ming nodded and suddenly thought of something. He slapped his forehead and hurriedly ordered, "Oh, right. Have people transport the weapons back to Reincarnation Village and have the Vice Village Chief put them on the market. The price will be 1 silver lower than others." "Yes, General." The chilly arch accepted the order and hurriedly ran to arrange for people to transport the weapons obtained from the Reincarnation Village to the Reincarnation Village. The weapons levels were not high, but for the current player market, it was enough to satisfy everyone's needs. As long as these weapons were sold, Reincarnation Village would definitely make a fortune. Yichen was not here. If he was, he would definitely praise Zhao Ming. Because Yichen was thinking too much, he forgot that trash weapons could be sold for money. Chapter 44. Reincarnation Forest. After the Samsara Legion went down the mountain, they began their rapid march. Soon, they entered their overbearing mode. Yichen was a king-level general, and he also had the god-killing spear, a primordial cardinal treasure. Even if it was broken, the village gates could not stop Yichen. Under the leadership of Yichen, the Samsara Legion attacked the strongholds with irresistible force. Small strongholds were destroyed in one blow. Medium strongholds were destroyed in one blow. Large strongholds were also destroyed in one blow. Yichen was very domineering. He charged and broke through the gates. With the Godslayer, no one was a match for him. Even the chieftains of the various mountain strongholds could not last one move against Yichen. The Samsara Legion was also domineering. They were cold-blooded, ruthless, and attacked quickly. They took the lives of countless bandits. The bandits and robbers were crying for their parents. They killed all the way. The sky was dark and the earth was dark. Wherever the Samsara Legion went, corpses were everywhere. Blood dyed the mountains red. Wails echoed throughout the forest. Every stronghold that was attacked, Yichen did not hesitate to destroy it. It was because they were training. More importantly, it was time for the bandits and robbers to attack Reincarnation Village in 2 days. 1 day later, Yichen attacked 36 strongholds, harvested countless resources, and captured more than 10,000 people. Yichen only asked the captives to follow him and carry the weapons and other things. Yichen did not care about the captives. However, none of them ran away. They followed him wholeheartedly. Even if they fell behind, they would desperately catch up and continue to follow. Yichen was too terrifying. The stronghold gates made of thick rolling wood were like tofu. They were destroyed with one shot. As for the bandits and robbers in front of Yichen, even if they were fort masters, they were all stabbed to death with a single spear. The Samsara Legion, led by Yichen, was just as terrifying. The bandits had seen the Great Han Empire's army before. However, compared to the Samsara Legion, the regular army paled in comparison. The Samsara Legion's equipment was no different from that of bandits, but when they killed people, it was as easy as harvesting wheat. Swift and decisive. None of the captives dared to run, nor were they willing to run. To be able to follow a lord like Yichen and become a villager of Reincarnation Village, they felt excited from the bottom of their hearts. Because the Reincarnation Village was strong enough, the lord was so overbearing. Moreover, if he joined the Reincarnation Village, he would have land and food to eat. 2 days later, Yichen led the Samsara Legion to take down 42 strongholds. On this day, the Samsara Legion was promoted to an E-rank Special Forces Legion. Just as Yichen was preparing to march back to Reincarnation Village, countless bandits appeared in the distance. They were slowly approaching the Samsara Legion that had just finished fighting. The Samsara Legion had been fighting for a day and were already very tired, but at this moment, they all raised the weapons in their hands. As long as Yichen gave the order, they would not hesitate to attack the enemy. Don't misunderstand. My lord, this lowly one is here to surrender. A terrified shout was heard instantly. Yichen frowned slightly. At this moment, the person who shouted just now turned around and shouted at the bandits. Kneel down. Kneel down. Raise your hands. After he finished speaking, He took the lead to kneel down and raised his hands high, indicating that he did not bring any weapons. At this moment, group after group of bandits knelt on the ground and raised their hands high. Seeing this, Yichun could not help but be stunned. Are they here to surrender? Yichun really did not expect this to happen. In his previous life, no one had ever encountered bandits who voluntarily surrendered. But these bandits really did not have any weapons on them. If they pretended to surrender, they would be courting death. After a few breaths, Yichun found something unusual. These bandits kneeling on the ground were all very scared, and many of them were very frightened. It was not until now that Yichun realized one thing. The bandits were scared out of their wits, which was why they collectively surrendered. As for the reason, it was very simple. Yichun was fighting a blitzkrieg, so it was impossible to not let anyone go. If a few people ran away, they would pass the news of the Samsara Legion to the other bandits. And this was the fundamental reason why the remaining 20 or so bandits collectively surrendered. They were scared and terrified. Thinking of this, Yichun walked towards the bandits kneeling on the ground. The Samsara Legion's formation was not messed up, and they steadily followed behind Yichun. Without exception, they all raised their weapons. If there was any abnormal situation, the Samsara Legion would immediately kill all the bandits. As for the captives who surrendered before, they all actively stared at the bandits kneeling on the ground. They didn't do anything. They just followed behind the Samsara Corps and moved the weapons they had collected. They were eager to prove their loyalty, to prove that they were people of the Reincarnation Village, and that they sincerely joined the Reincarnation Village. Lord, I am really here to surrender. The person who shouted before found that Yichun did not speak, and his forehead was instantly covered with cold sweat, and then he shouted in panic. Leaders of large bandits, stand up. Yichun glanced at this person, then looked at the black mass of bandits and robbers and shouted, "Let's go." As soon as Yichun's words fell, the three men suddenly trembled. Chapter 45. Sir, please spare our lives. Please spare our lives. The three chiefs of the strongholds kowtowed and shouted in fear. Shut up. Yichun frowned and shouted in a deep voice. The three fort masters shuddered and shut their mouths at the same time. They looked at Yichun in panic, waiting for him to continue. Where is your stronghold? Yichun looked at the three of them and asked. When the three of them heard this, they were stunned. Then they realized that Yichun wasn't going to kill them. My lord, I'm willing to lead the way. One of the chiefs hurriedly shouted. My lord, I'm also willing to lead the way. The other two shouted. Yichun nodded. Then he turned to the Samsara Legion behind him and shouted, split up into 6,000 men. Station 2,000 men in each stronghold. Yes, my lord. They shouted in unison in an instant. In the next second, 6,000 men from the Samsara Legion walked out from left to right and quickly divided into three groups. During this period, no one made any noise or scrambled. They were neat and orderly. This made the bandits who had come to surrender feel even more pressure. This was called strict discipline. This was called a regular army. In reality, they didn't know that even a regular army wouldn't be able to react so quickly. It was even more impossible for them to walk in such a neat formation. This was a trait that only a special army could have. The Samsara Legion was a special army. It was the only and irreplaceable special army that could advance infinitely. Yichun made this decision because he wanted to keep the three strongholds. His purpose was simple, to train the troops. Let's go. Yichun waved his right hand. The chiefs of the three strongholds hurriedly got up and ran out to lead the way for the three teams of the Samsara Legion. Yichun looked at the remaining bandits and said, There's no need for your strongholds to exist. I'm willing to lead the way, my lord. This way is the Black Dog stronghold. My lord, 5 li to the west is the Lupus stronghold. The bandits and robbers who had surrendered scrambled to be the first to declare their stance. It was a lively scene. Shut up, Yichun shouted angrily. Then he continued, Let's go to the nearest village first. Lead the way." As soon as Yi Chan finished his words, the head of a small village hurriedly stood out and led the way for Yi Chan. What Yi Chan wanted to do was to destroy these strongholds. There was no need to keep these villages. Otherwise, the reincarnation forest would be a mess, and it would not be a good thing for the reincarnation village. Strongholds were destroyed one after another, and Yi Chen's harvest continued to increase. He had more money, more merit points, and more resources. It wasn't until the last village was destroyed that Yi Chen brought his people back to Reincarnation Village. "Welcome back to the village, my lord." As soon as Yi Chen entered the valley, an excited roar was heard. "Welcome back to the village, my lord." A chorus of shouts followed closely behind. Zhao Heng, Zhao Yu, and a group of villagers were looking at Yi Chen excitedly. They all had farming tools in their hands. Seeing this, Yi Chen was slightly stunned. In the next second, a warm current appeared in Yi Chen's heart. Whether it was Zhao Heng, Zhao Yu, or the villagers of Reincarnation Village, they all knew that Reincarnation Village was about to face a crisis. At this moment, the soldiers were out, and there were no soldiers guarding Reincarnation Village. They spontaneously picked up their farming tools and went to the entrance of the valley. Their goal was simple: to protect Reincarnation Village, to protect the land that gave them peace and happiness. More importantly, to protect Yi Chen's foundation. Silence, very silence. The entire valley was extremely quiet at this moment. Everyone was looking at Yi Chen. A gentle breeze blew by, blowing a strand of hair on Yi Chen's forehead. Only then did Yi Chen let out a long breath. In the real world, there were too many schemes and betrayals. At this moment, in Reincarnation Village, in Yi Chen's territory, there was a group of people who were 100% loyal to Yi Chen. They were even willing to give up their lives to protect Yi Chen's territory. It was a very simple and childish idea, but it was the most precious. For Yi Chen, this was what Yi Chen wanted. Looking at the villagers of Reincarnation Village, Yi Chen lightly smiled and then shouted, "From today onwards, the land of Reincarnation Village will be privatized. The tax will be changed from 40% to 10%. As soon as Yi Chen's words fell, everyone was stunned. Then, they shouted excitedly in unison, "Long live the Overlord! Long live the Lord!" Originally, they were all refugees. As long as they had enough to eat, they would be content. Reincarnation Village took them in and didn't let them starve. They could live in peace. But now Yi Chen gave them land. More importantly, the original 40% tax was changed to 10%. How could the villagers not be excited? How could they not be excited? One had to know that the people of this era were very attached to land. Not only were the original residents of the Reincarnation Village excited, but also the bandits and robbers who surrendered. Yi Chen's promise was also applicable to them. Whether they were soldiers or farmers, they could live a good life in Reincarnation Village. They didn't have to worry about food or clothes. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen. Reincarnation Village's stability plus 20. Chapter 46. Yi Chen ignored the system and walked straight to Zhao Yu. Looking at Zhao Yu's resolute face and gentle eyes, Yi Chen's heart was touched again and again. Zhao Yu was a woman and was not strong in martial arts. But for Yi Chen, she was willing to come to the entrance of the valley and defend against the bandits that could come at any time. For Yi Chen, she chose to disregard her own life. Although she was loyal to him, the tenderness in her eyes could not fool Yi Chen. Yi Chen tried his best to calm himself down. Then he gently pulled Zhao Yu into his arms and said softly, "Meeting you is the luckiest thing in my life." When Zhao Yu heard this, she could not help but blush. Although her relationship with Yi Chen was known by the villagers of Reincarnation Village, there were many villagers here watching. How could Zhao Yu not be shy? Go back to work. Zhao Heng saw this and hurriedly kicked everyone away. The villagers of Reincarnation Village naturally did not dare to disturb Yi Chen and hurriedly left. The soldiers who returned with Yi Chen also left at the same time. Soon, only Yi Chen and Zhao Yu were left at the entrance of the valley. "Brother, are you hurt?" Zhao Yu suddenly thought of something and hurriedly asked, "No, there aren't many people in this world who can hurt me. In the future, there will be fewer and fewer people. Eventually, no one will be able to hurt me." Yichen stroked Zhao Yu's hair and chuckled. That's good, that's good." Zhao Yu heard this and immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Then, she snuggled up in Yi Chen's arms again. Yi Chen hugged Zhao Yu and was filled with emotions. If he had not been reborn, Yi Chen would have really treated Zhao Yu as a piece of data and not put in his feelings. In fact, this world was not made up of data. This was a real world with flesh, blood, and souls. Yi Chen's thoughts drifted further and further away. He could not help but hug Zhao Yu tightly in his arms. After a while, Yi Chen gradually came back to his senses and said solemnly, "Don't be so stupid. Even if Reincarnation Village cannot be saved, nothing can happen to you. Remember my words, this is not a discussion. This is an order." When Zhao Yu heard Yi Chen's extremely stern tone, she could not help but be stunned. Then, her heart warmed and she softly replied, "Okay." Naturally, she could hear Yi Chen's concern and love for her. A feeling called happiness constantly flowed in Zhao Yu's heart. When Yi Chen heard Zhao Yu's promise, he was relieved. Then, he hugged Zhao Yu and sat down by the river. At this moment, Yi Chen just wanted to hug Zhao Yu and stay quietly, because he was moved and also because of this rare leisure. Looking at the slowly flowing river and bathing in the sunset, Yi Chen's heart was particularly calm. Time passed by little. When the afterglow of the setting sun gradually disappeared, Yi Chen let out a long breath and said softly, "Let's go back." "Okay," Zhao Yu softly replied. Yi Chen smiled, then got up and walked back to Reincarnation Village holding Zhao Yu's hand. Now that it was just the beginning, Yi Chen naturally would not be complacent, nor would he be complacent. Moreover, artificial intelligence Pangu would soon open the game currency exchange service. When that time came, the major powers would quickly rise. Yi Chen did not have that much time to waste. Yi Chen, 3rd rank Viscount title, Spear God, characteristics. When using a spear-type weapon, attack x2, accuracy x2, comprehension plus 100, king class general level, 95 reputation, 1,350,000. Increases attractiveness to historical figures. Merit, 890, 000 force, 92 innate bone, 88 spirit, 100 fortune. Hidden cultivation technique, 9 revolutions mysterious art, chaos, divine night, lightning manipulation, chaos, skills, basic spear technique, divine, equipment, god slayer, damaged, innate treasure. Black cloud armor, mysterious, true, money. 18,620,000 gold items. Mountain shaking art, king, true. Thunder spear, mysterious, true. Night pearl, top quality. X36, night pearl, perfect. X1, bronze sparrow pavilion, blueprint SSS grade. Yang returning pill, X1. 100 boxes of jewelry. Cavalry barracks, blueprint X1. Heavy cavalry barracks, blueprint X1. Drill ground X1. Mingguang armor, blueprint X1. Point steel and spear, blueprint X1. Hornbow, blueprint X1. Secret room, blueprint X1. Granary, blueprint X1. 100 flower wine, recipe X1. After returning to Reincarnation Village, Yi Chen directly called for Zhao Hong, the vice village chief, and gave him all the blueprints except for the bronze sparrow pavilion. The large amount of resources they had seized was also given to Zhao Hong, who was in charge of distributing the blueprints and formulas. The large amount of resources, blueprints, recipes, and wealth brought endless possibilities to Reincarnation Village. Other people were still using wooden spears that could not even reach the grade, but Reincarnation Village could already make silver-grade weapons and armor. Other people did not know what a specialty was, but Reincarnation Village had one of the top 10 wines of the prehistoric era, the 100-flower wine. Yi Chen had not gone offline for a long time. If not for the fact that he had become a Khanate general and did not need so much food, Yi Chen would have gone offline long ago. After handing over the matters, Yi Chen returned to the village chief's mansion and chose to go offline. Who would have thought that as soon as he went offline, he would hear the sound of crack, crack? Chapter 47. With a creak sound, the diamond-level gaming chamber automatically opened, and the creak sound instantly disappeared. Yichen stood up from the diamond-level gaming chamber and was stunned. He saw a 2-meter-long tiger with fiery red fur staring at Yichen with its two big tiger eyes. "This is Yinhu," Yichen quickly reacted. This ferocious red-furred tiger in front of him was his spirit beast, Yinhu. How did it grow so big? Just as Yichen's doubts appeared, he saw a small pile of shiny stones on the ground. Those were spirit stones produced by the Spirit Gathering Disc Array, Earth level, automatically every day. And this was the reason why Yinhu grew so big in just 2 days. Yinhu stared at him with his two big, watery eyes, as if he didn't know anything. If it weren't for the small spirit stone fragments on the ground, and if he didn't know the number of spirit stones produced by the Spirit Gathering Disc Array, Earth level, daily, Yichen might have believed it. "You little guy, you're too greedy." Yichen shook his head helplessly and then left the diamond-level gaming chamber. Yinhu hurriedly ran to Yichen's side and rubbed his big head against Yichen's trousers, acting cute. Obviously, this guy was worried that Yichen would scold him. "Don't eat so much in the future. Do what you can and don't overeat. Look at your stomach." Yichen glared at Yinhu and then said. Yichen naturally didn't care about such a small amount of spirit stones. Yinhu was Yichen's spirit beast, so naturally, the stronger the better. But the energy contained in these spirit stones wasn't small. Yinhu ate too much, and his stomach was bloated, and it was the energy that made it bloated. If he wasn't careful, he might explode, and then it would be difficult to survive. Yinhu lowered his head to look at his bloated stomach and nodded his head vigorously. Yichen smiled, patted Yinhu's head, and then left the thatched cottage. The air outside was very fresh, and it was completely different from the turbid air mixed with all kinds of smells. This was brought about by the fall of the meteor. The world had changed, and it had changed so much that people were caught unprepared. At that moment, it had already been 3 days since the meteor fell. Looking at the tall buildings in the distance, Yichen let out a long breath. It was about to begin. A gentle breeze blew past, ruffling the hair on Yichen's forehead and the buildings in the distance. The reinforced concrete building, at this moment, seemed to have experienced hundreds of years in an instant, and then became extremely decayed. Countless dust particles drifted with the breeze. One floor after another, the buildings, no matter how tall or short they were reduced to dust, drifting away and disappearing. At this moment, it was not only the city that had changed, but the entire world. Some people were frightened, some screamed, and some shouted at this moment. The crowd became even more confused. The unknown was the most terrifying. Because of the unknown, one would be fearful. Because of the unknown, one would go crazy. No matter how much the world changed, there was a rule that would always exist. Survival of the fittest. At this moment, the strong had already begun to form alliances, while the evil had begun to unleash the demons in their hearts. Women's screams, children's cries, and men's anger and madness were staged all over the world. After a cup of tea's time, the reinforced concrete buildings could not be seen, and the roads on the ground had become muddy roads. At a glance, there were towering trees, and the ground was overgrown with weeds. Desolate, primitive, but full of vitality, this was the world at this moment. However, the smell of human panic in the air was getting thicker and thicker. Yichen was silent for a moment, and then looked at the new development zone in the southwest. Over there were buildings that looked like they belonged in science fiction. That was the city built by the Brain Pangu, and it was also the safe zone for humans in the next 3 months. After that, when the safety zone was gone, the killing would officially begin at that moment. The monster clan, the human clan, and the mysterious witch clan that would appear soon. The smell of death would get thicker and thicker, so thick that it would make people tremble and crazy. Phew! Yi Chun let out a long breath, and then went to relieve himself, made some simple food, and did not continue to rest, and went straight back to the diamond-level game cabin. Here was the reincarnation village. The reincarnation village, in reality, the reincarnation village with only 3 huts. But here, it also had the attributes of a safe zone. Therefore, Yi Chun was not worried about the wild beasts or ferocious beasts that wanted to take advantage of him. As for the threat from humans, Yi Chun was even less worried about it. Yi Chun was not worried about the Khanate realm and king-level generals, no matter how many of them came. Yi Chun only had one thought at this moment. Keep getting stronger, so strong that it made people afraid, so strong that it made people despair. Game world, reincarnation village, village chief's mansion. A beam of light suddenly appeared. The light dissipated, and Yi Chun appeared here. Looking at the spotless bedroom, Yi Chun smiled slightly, and then walked out. Unexpectedly, as soon as Yi Chun went out, he saw Zhao Hong standing outside the door, anxiously pacing back and forth. What happened? Yi Chun frowned slightly, and then asked. Seeing Yi Chun come out, Zhao Hong hurriedly bowed and said, My lord, the villagers who went out to explore saw the Wuhuan cavalry in the forest. It was finally going to be published. To be honest, I was not very confident. As an author, I wrote to make money to support myself. This was not unscrupulous. This was reality. If the book's results were good, the royalties would be more, and I would be able to support myself. Of course, this is not without the support of the readers. Without your subscriptions, it can be said that I am nothing. As for the sympathy and pity of others, I won't say anything. There is no need for that. Whether a book is good or bad depends on the reader's approval. If they approve, they will subscribe. If there are many people subscribing, it means that this is a good book. I can't give you any promises because promises are a bit empty. I just want to say that I will try my best to write this book. I will try my best to write it. And this is the only thing I can do to repay all the readers. Thank you to all the friends who have been tipping, voting, and giving me flowers. Thank you. Finally, it will be published at midnight tonight. Please be the first to decide. Thank you. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.